can. Hi, everybody. Welcome. How are you? Happy Thursday. We started a little late today because of my family FaceTime. Every Thursday's like that. It's nothing special about this one. It's just how it works. Just how we do. Because family comes first. That's how it just works around here, you know? I know other, multimedia celebrities, as I've been called, don't have that ability, or well, they absolutely have the ability. They just choose not to act on it, which I think shows their character, if you really think about it. But not me. This is how I roll. And the way I roll is straight in from LA, do my show, do my morning show tomorrow, and then roll back right to LA because I'm in Vegas right now. Because I love you guys that much. And the tech yesterday was so frustrating. Oh, yes. Thanks, Marsha. Right out of the, who said that? Was it Susan? Yes. Thanks, Susan. Right out of the gate. Facebook, all their companies are now called Meta because they're going to be very meta in the vet, and they're going to be metaing the verse of the metaverse. Good times. Did I fix the LA computer? Yes, sort of. I did as much as I could. There are limitations to what it is capable of doing, but I fixed all of those limitations, so we should be fine for tomorrow afternoon's show. I'll do the morning show from here, drive back, do the afternoon show, then do 2 hours, two stand-up shows right in a row, 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Please come if you're in the LA area or you know anyone in the LA area. Tell them to come on down. It's a good time. If you're a patron, just let me know. You'll be on the Patreon list. You can just tell them you're a patron, and they'll let you in with a guest. It's all good. You're Blue Patch. If you're in the Blue Patch Brigade, you'll have one of these. If you don't have one yet, and you haven't received one yet, and you show up at a show, I'll hand you one. That's the easiest way to do it. More of them will be mailed out soon for the new folks and the folks that haven't had one, and because I've now gotten them, which is good. Anyways, yes. So there we go. Chip is doing great, and but he missed me, and then apparently, because I've been going to LA and more than I have during the whole pandemic, I've basically been down here in the office, not quite the basement, but in the office, and just like hacking away at the show every day. Chud has gotten to sort of understand that this is where I am, my other cat. And then I go to LA a couple of days in a row, and Summer finds her down here meowing in my office, like, "Where are you? Where'd you go? The hell is up with this dude? Where is he?" "I'll mail it to Queensland." "I'm not afraid, David. It'll go all the way to Queensland. If you're allowed to get mail from, up over. Is that what you guys call us? Please tell me that people in Australia call America up over, since we call you down under. It's like the debate about toilet paper, which there should be none. It is over and should always be over, because only a cretin asks a guest using the restroom to reach up under something. Are you out of your mind? Never under, always over. Period. It is that, yes. So this is how we go. This is how we do. All seems to be well on the tubes. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Lovely. So hold on. I've got to squeeze this thing out. So why did it go that way? Don't get back. Oh, I don't need analytics. I need the actual studio open. There we go. Very strange. Thank you so much, Raphael. Will I be coming to the Inland Empire? We just were there with Nerd Halen at Yamava, and we will be back. They have asked us to come back for ever so slightly more money, which is a good sign. That means we did well. It will now include food. It will include like more than one kind of meal from the kitchen, which is great, especially because of the amount of time we're there. So good times. All right, let's go. Yeah, some people are under, some people are up over. You can't like the show? Well, just do it in your heart. I wouldn't worry. Give me a thumbs up. Use one of the emotes. Apparently, if you enjoy the show on Facebook, using one of the laughy emote things as opposed to just a thumbs up, apparently it's worth more points. This is how Facebook manipulates its own feed to make stuff that makes you angry or sad have more value in the feed than just stuff you like. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I apparently know how to change the toilet paper roll. It's run at the gate. No. Sorry, run that thing? Somebody said that? Hopefully it didn't cut me off from connecting because he coming on people. And I was only $2 super chat, but I was first. Thank you, Robert. I was looking for it. I was scrolling through, which is what kicked me out of the studio on YouTube. So thank you for that. Thank you for that super chat. All right, let's go. Yes, YouTube is up. It's running. It's working. Yeah. Good evening. Hello. Can't watch on Facebook anymore? I don't know. I'm on Facebook. Other people are. There you go. Yes, you can passive-aggressively enjoy the show as well. There's nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine. Yes, I'm totally meta. And by the way, speaking of meta manipulations and people who have just managed to step on rakes everywhere they go, it's been a while since we've seen our good old friend Rudy Giuliani. Interestingly enough, we're used to seeing Rudy Giuliani with an iPad or two. Sometimes we've seen him with two. Most of the time, it's just the one iPad, if anything at all. Right now, he's got a laptop. And I don't think I have to tell you that it is not Hunter Biden's laptop. We have finally seen Rudy Giuliani with a laptop, and it's not Hunter's. And the reason I know this is because, A, there is no Hunter Biden laptop. It is bullshit, and it's always been bullshit. But also, there's no Beau Biden Foundation sticker on this one. It's just a Lenovo, which apparently now Rudy Giuliani's masturbation habits brought to you by Lenovo. This is the weirdest angle. I guess he's having an interview with someone for this one. Former undercover FBI agent Mark Ruskin discussed the purging of our Bill of Rights. Oh, gosh, the Bill of Rights has been purged. So I guess maybe we only have one right left. Is that it? Hold on. Somebody's saying in the chat, High Plains Drafter says, how we residents of Las Vegas think you rock, man. By the way, thank you, Rep. Rokana, tore apart the oil execs in Congress testimony today. Fantastic. I will check it out later. It will be added to my C-SPAN list because of your recommendation. So the Bill of Rights, apparently, we used to have lots of rights, and apparently they've just gotten rid of all of them except guns, I guess. Well, knowing it's, Biden's in charge, so Second Amendment's probably done. I don't know what's included in there. Not quartering soldiers. That's the only one that's left. They've taken everything else. The Bill of Rights. The Bill of Reich. Look, he's got a Lincoln thing because he did the Lincoln filter, and then he put a Lincoln there because he's trying to align himself with honesty. It's like stealing the brand of a dead man. That's totally on brand for Rudy Giuliani. Okay, so this is Rudy covering up something. God knows what he's doing with his hands. I'm afraid to even think about it. On his Lenovo laptop. And for whatever reason, this interview is going to be done, well, like low res as hell. Again, by the way, I know he's broke because he did all this free pro bono legal work for Trump. Didn't realize it was free and pro bono at the time. And, or pro boner, I suppose, in that regard. And normally he would have a bunch of, what the hell? Hold on. I just spotted something in the corner. What is this? Please tell me these are new sponsors and he's going to whip these things out in the middle. It looks like a box of donuts and some dick pills. It's scaring me. So anyways, Rudy did all this work for him. Rudy's a millionaire. Rudy's been involved in like the securities business. Securities makes it sound like finance. Security business. He's had like consulting businesses since 9/11 all over the world. And he's down to arguing, having someone on via Lenovo he has to stare into. Nobody on his staff, his kid, nobody involved in this can post video, can hook up Skype and talk to, all right. What? Where is all the cigar money going in this production? What a bunch of shit. Yes, he's doing pro boner work behind his laptop. Okay. So this is very important. The Bill of Rights is gone.
And I'm back with another episode of Rudy.
Well, yeah, it goes without saying.
Common sense. Today, we're going to take a look at something I know is disturbing many, many Americans because,
Jeez, God, please don't put. If he lowers the lid on that laptop and that's what's disturbing everyone, Mount. Yeah, so is it going to be him watching video of himself tucking his penis in and touching a woman he believes to be 15 years old on the rump?
I get a lot of calls and I get a lot of emails.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He gets a few. I'm sure there's people in the circle. He doesn't get a lot.
About this and a lot of questions about it. And that is, it seems like there's been almost since the beginning of the pandemic and probably even before that, a concerted attack on
you mean when Trump was president? Okay.
Bill of Rights.
Okay. So since the middle of the Trump presidency, there's been an attack on the Bill of Rights. Okay. All right.
Rights have been limited, changed, trashed in some cases.
Sure. It's shit talked.
Some of it coming from the pandemic, some of it from other reasons.
Yeah. Mostly, I think Trump just trying to limit people's right to vote and ability to vote. And then, of course, I mean, I'm sure that he's talking about quartering soldiers and stuff like that. We'll see.
Well,
Okay.
just last week in the Epic Times.
Oh, we're going to the Epic Times now. Really? You didn't actually... You're not getting any QAnon newsletters directly? The Epic Times. Okay.
Author by the name of Mark Ruskin. Here's the article. You can see I have it all marked up.
I believe it. I believe Rudy Giuliani is the only fucking person in the world that gets a physical copy of the Epic Times and underlines parts, or has someone else underline them for it. Epic, EPOCH. Let me let's see. Let's try to grab this up here. Hold on, and try to. No, I don't want to open this up. Hold on. Right. So the Epic Times. Sometimes you'll see a lot of like ads. Whoops, wrong one. Sorry. This one. You'll see a lot of ads for Epic Times on YouTube, and the Epic Times are. Let's see. Here we go. I'm afraid to click on it because it's they're going to follow me around now. Epic Times is they're behind Shen Yun. It's they're related to the Falun Gong folks. They got a real big in deference to Woody to Rudy. Sorry, they've got a real Woody for the Chinese Communist Party because of the Falun Gong story. They pose as a regular, real newspaper. Largely, it's just anti-CCP. That I don't have so much of a problem with. But they somehow believe that their wants and desires are on the same level as Donald Trump's. So look at this. They've got the news, man. Look at this. They beat us to the punch. Dan Bongino ends radio program in vaccine mandate battle with employer. It has nothing to do with the fact that his ratings were shit and they didn't want to pick up his contract. And they have a non-disparage clause. Divided under budget deal. Despite Biden's hopes, Democrats remain divided after budget deal reached. Is that the after the so the budget deal was reached, but they're still divided on the things they just agreed on. Yeah. So, anyways, I like the Epic ones. Yeah. So they'll draft up a bunch of stories. The large part of it is that they're fighting the Chinese Communist Party and that kind of stuff. But they have aligned themselves with the right wing because they've thought that that's the best way to go back against China. Never mind the fact that it's well documented how Trump has played footsie with them and other dictatorial regimes in the world, and doesn't care. But anyways, so Illinois bill to repeal law requiring parental notice of abortion heads to governor. Biden policies will cause cost of heating to spike. Republicans warn. Yeah. And Cuomo charged with misdemeanor for. Okay, so basically they pose as news, but with this underlying kind of right-wing bent, okay? Because they believe that is the best way to attack the Chinese Communist Party, even though it's not quite. And this whole thing, the Shenyun thing, if you see that, going around, it's basically an anti-CCP ballet. Just so you know, that's in case you see it. Anyways, this comes up all the time. Ads for it run on my YouTube channel for whatever reason, because they buy a shit ton of YouTube ads. So that's what he's talking about. And most of the people see it on the internet. Most people do not get a physical copy of the frigging Epic Times, except Grandpa Creepster.
Wrote an excellent article in which he laid out, it's called A Purge is Starting with the Bill of Rights.
A purge is it's the Bill of Right, because the purge has already started. The purge is starting with a Bill of Right.
He laid out in a way that I haven't seen as succinct and as powerfully yet.
Yes, so succinct and powerful that I had to highlight single sentences in a bunch of different paragraphs. Right.
This purge or attack on the Bill of Rights. Now, he certainly has the background. He certainly has the background to do this. Mark is a 27-year veteran of the FBI.
Oh, you mean that terrible organization that's corrupt through and through, and that has everybody in it, and it has been just out to get Trump forever, and is no longer a law enforcement thing, and only goes after patriots, and has to be dismantled, that the Republicans have been warning me about? That FBI? Or do you mean he's been a female body inspector since his first trip to Venice Beach?
Written a book called The Pretender, which is about his life undercover in the FBI.
Where'd you ever get that idea? Oh, because it says it right there. Is it? All right.
Which is quite harrowing, as you know.
No, I would not know. That's why I would need to read the book, because most of us aren't undercover for the FBI. I mean, I would assume.
He also was an assistant district attorney, a prosecutor in Brooklyn. He was a legislative assistant to a man I would very much like to have around now, who I had great affection for, Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
Oh, thank God. I was concerned it was going to be Jeffrey Epstein. Go ahead.
Really use his voice now. And he's also an adjunct professor at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice. And the book, The Pretender, is published by St. Martin's Press, a very, very strong and important publishing house.
I see. So the paper is really resilient. It's 2-ply or whatever, and it's quilted, so it's easier on your bum.
So this is a man who's in a position.
I only read books from strong publishers. If I pick up a book and I'm like, what's this floppy shit? What is this book written on? Paper? The fuck?
Having been an agent with the FBI under the most difficult, stressful circumstances, a prosecutor. Now,
that's debatable. I mean, because I don't know how many people are familiar with this. I would say these guys were in the FBI under the most dangerous and circumstances possible. This is the FBI agents who were in a firefight in Miami that went on, like, it was horrifying. It was 86. The story of it's fascinating. If you ever watch the FBI Files, they do like a documentary about it. So it was bad. So these guys, that they know what it's like to be like, whatever. This guy's just got to talk to Rudy, which, I mean, horrible firefight with violent bank robbers where your buddies are dying all around you or getting their, literally getting incapacitating, maiming injuries, or watch Rudy Giuliani sit in front of a laptop.
Professor, and obviously an excellent writer and very thoughtful man. This is someone who...
Why is it obvious? Have you read the book? He hasn't read the book.
Really can bring some clarity to what I know is troubling a lot of us about what's going on with these rights that, for example, our right of free speech and our freedom of religion. So let's begin. Mark, it's a great pleasure to have you here. Thank you.
Well, Mayor.
Jesus Christ. Dude, lean back. Because I don't need the turnaround on this shot. You have to understand, I'm always concerned when we see the reverse angle on Rudy Giuliani's laptop. You cannot.
Mayor, first, let me thank you very much for inviting me to be here. It's an honor to be talking to you.
Well, if you would, I laid out a little bit of your career, but if you just go through, what you've done, and then we'll get right to the article and your concern about what's happening to these rights that are. I mean, it's almost unthinkable that.
Well, nothing is unthinkable. That's the power of the mind, and it bugs me when people go. You guys know I have this chip on my shoulder for when the news talks about an unimaginable crime. Like, it's not unimaginable. Someone thought it up and fucking did it. Of course, it's imaginable. You can't imagine it. You can say to most of us an unimaginable crime, but obviously, if somebody does it, especially like the worst of the worst, which is usually what they're talking about, like serial killer stuff, those guys think it up a lot. They imagine it many times before they do it. But unthinkable, well, I suppose, to be fair to Rudy, as dumb as he is, a lot of things are unthinkable. Like, he starts to try and think them, and he blacks out.
Rights would be put in any kind of jeopardy.
Well, I'll start off by saying that, having worked in the criminal justice system for over 3 decades, and then having prior to that, seen how government operates close up. My work on...
Yes, every time he works for the government, he leans really close. He's really, up in there.
Legislative staff of Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan was my first serious job out of college and prior to law school. So I got a chance early on to see, what goes into making the sausage, which is government, and how you don't want to know what that is, generally speaking.
I don't know that he has a hard palate. I'm just as confused as you are, but okay.
But so I was somewhat disillusioned at an early age, and not naive after that experience. And essentially, being disillusioned with the political situation is kind of what pushed me into becoming an assistant district attorney. I wanted a job which was...
Yeah, it was either that or, be the next Timothy McVeigh, and I kind of flipped the coin.
Politicized, as you understand as a prosecutor yourself, but that is strictly involved with enforcing the law objectively.
Well, selectively enforcing the law, but yeah, go ahead.
And independently. And then from that, moving into the FBI, and 3 decades later, moving over now and being more of an observer than a participant. I've been right.
I see. So you have, during the relevant time period that you're talking about, you haven't been inside the government talking about stuff. You are speaking from a point of suspicion that you dreamt up a long time ago before you left and wrote your book. Okay, here we go.
A column for the Epic.
Oh, there's 666 people in the chat already. That's quick. That might be a record for the show. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. This is the time to give $6.66 in the super chat if you feel like it, or give bits or support the show and whatever you want. It's just the one thing that reminds me to remind you, to remind everybody to help support the show and make it possible, because it only happens because of you. Thanks.
I'm now for several years.
I always forget.
And my columns generally focus on the Bill of Rights, on the Constitution, and what I have observed over the years from my different positions as it has evolved, or maybe I should say devolved, in
Zing!
past years, and to the situation where it is today. And you refer to the First Amendment. The First Amendment is particularly striking in terms of how the rights that we enjoy that preserve our freedom of expression, our freedom of religious association, have been slowly shifting.
Shifting? Is this going to be during a pandemic? We couldn't gather in churches like we couldn't gather anywhere else because mostly old people go to church, and somebody, I don't know why, didn't want all of the religious older people in the country to all die at once. Just
unnoticeably.
Thanks,
And
LM.
in the past several
Thanks,
months,
you guys.
This year I've written few columns because I've been a little actually overwhelmed by the movements that have been occurring on within the government and in the private sector as well. And in the column that you refer to now, that I wrote last week, I tried to put together the different strings as to the different rights under the Bill of Rights which have been adversely affected over the past couple of years.
Oh, good Lord. Please, Lord, in our free practice of our freedom of religion, please deliver us from these morons who believe that God dwelleth only in one single building, and that if they're temporarily closed because of weather or a disease, then the connection between humanity and God is non-existent. In the same way that if there are not toys available for Christmas, then Jesus is unborn. That Jesus goes back into the spiritual womb, and then we got to be extra good, or Santa won't bring us a Jesus next year. Man.
Getting to the First Amendment, I had noticed, for example, with First Amendment.
Fucking hell. Is this going to be two old guys, like, sitting at next to you at a two-banger table while you're trying to eat alone, and your headphones have died, and you can't put them in so you can just eat your meal and get on with your shit, and you have to overhear this stupid thing as both of them pick nose hairs during the goddamn meal? Is that what this is? Shit.
Academics, law professors, 20 or 30 years ago, they would have universally 100% defended virtually absolute freedom of expression.
Hi, fucko. No, they wouldn't have. First of all, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Secondly, there's no situation anywhere where they weren't trying to get people not to go to church. And by the way, a long time ago, you wouldn't have had to talk people into not going to a church building during a giant pandemic, because the religious types weren't following a lunatic leader saying go into a building with shit ventilation and kill each other in the name of following me over your God.
Would not tolerate government intervention in the expression of ideas and beliefs. And
and you don't have that now, stupid.
I attended another symposium at Fordham Law School and was kind of shocked to see that there'd been a big shift in the academic world, that now fully, I would say, half of the professors were supporting what Herbert Marcuse called repressive tolerance. I don't know if you, Marcuse was a socialist, very left philosopher at the end of the 20th century who advocated free speech. And I studied him in law school. And when I read him, you read him initially, you think, well, these ideas are very good. He's saying that speech should be tolerated, and it's very important to a free society to have the interchange of ideas. However, then he moves on and says, however, that ideas which are harmful to society, of course, must be regulated. And that's when you get
regulated. Like let's say you had a group of people that wanted to march down the street and say Jews will not replace us really loud while carrying tiki torches. Well, you'd want them to get a permit, certainly. That kind of regulation. You can say it, but you can't say it all the time, and you can't stand outside of a synagogue, for example, and do it every weekend. Maybe one weekend a year, as long as you get the proper permits. But any more than that, it needs to be regulated. We need laws around yelling fire in a crowded theater, or racist abuse in someone's face, or threatening them, for example. Like the idea that you should be able, in the name of freedom, to threaten the lives of teachers and people on school boards and tell them you know where they live and all that kind of stuff. And, that is regulated because it's terroristic threats, for example. Now, everybody else who's just yelling and being an asshole, that's legal. You don't have to, that's regulated in that everybody gets time to speak, and you have to stand in line at the podium and wait till everybody else spews their hateful nonsense for your turn to spew your hateful nonsense. Of course. That kind of regulation.
To where we are getting to today. Who decides what ideas are harmful?
So if we begin-
No one. Ideas by themselves floating around are indeed not harmful. It's when you materialize them or verbalize them in certain areas. For example, is there anything wrong with telling a consenting adult about your sexual proclivities, your desires? If they are sitting there, they're not a captive audience, you haven't duct taped them to a chair, they're a friend. There's nothing wrong with expressing your fetishes, your kinks, your ideas about what you want to do. But going into a preschool, for example, and saying them to a bunch of children would be a violation of those children's rights. And the idea isn't wrong. It's the presentation and where. So you can have that. You could sit in a room full of 5-year-olds thinking kinky thoughts, and there's nothing really we can do about it. I mean, it might eventually. If you're that type of person and it has to do with the children, we might need to act on that as a society. But it's really not until the rubber hits the road, as it were. Till you start going, hey kids, want to see something? Or, my goodness, 15-year-old lady who just interviewed me, do you mind if I tuck my penis in? Yes, you can be proud to be a stripper. You shouldn't do it at a preschool. It's exactly right. That's the difference. Not the ideas. Ideas are fine. You have all the fucking ideas you want. It's when you try to put them into practice or verbalize them, and the context of verbalizing them is inappropriate. We do that all the time. It's not the idea. It's what you do with it and where you present it and how.
If we begin with free speech, which is probably where we should begin, free speech and freedom of religion are probably the two cores of our republic, our democracy.
Probably. I would argue that separation of church and state is created actually within the freedom of religion idea, so that no one religion becomes the structural religion of the country. See, that's where the freedom of religion thing is very important. It's not important if everybody's of the same religion or that you can bully someone. The idea is that freedom of religion is actually a pluralistic view of religion. And of course, freedom of speech has obvious limits. Like, for example, if you're a person who copies and disseminates child porn, like Rudy Giuliani, for example, documented by his own words, then arguably you will run afoul of the idea of freedom of speech, that this would be an expression and you'd be allowed to do that, because we obviously don't allow for that. And Rudy is just waiting for them to recognize that he's admitted to it multiple times, right? And the freedom of assembly is a very important factor until you want to assemble like a riot, for example, in which case you do not have the freedom of assembly when that assembly is damaging property, harming human beings, and otherwise making life unpleasant for everybody who pays taxes for that road to still work.
When I grew up, to me,
when did this occur?
Things that I respected most about liberals, and I don't know, I'm probably talking in the 60s and the 70s, was their fierce defense of free speech. For example.
Well, yes. Yeah. Liberals, that's what makes me a liberal. I'm a full-on free speech advocate. Abusive speech, on the other hand, actively, bullying someone to the point of violent threats, for example, doesn't qualify. But we'll see where he's going with this. This is probably what he really means is freedom of speech means freedom to have a Twitter account no matter what you say.
The classic ability to say that the Nazis, if they demonstrate, should have a right to express their view. I'm not even sure I agreed with that, but that they should have their right to.
Well, they do have that right. Yeah. But they got to get a permit, obviously. Like I said, it's also limited to where and when, and we're not going to let them just like get a permit to every Saturday in front of the biggest synagogue in town, for example, because that constitutes abuse. You can walk down the street over here and yell at the windows all the fuck you want.
Express their viewpoint. And then I can remember they were guided almost by a very, very firm principle that your dedication to free speech was tested not by allowing people to say what you agree with, but to defend people fiercely who you disagree with.
Well, yeah, that the government doesn't lock them up for it. That's what they meant. Yeah, I hate Illinois Nazis. They're the worst. We have the deleting comments troll problem again on the book. I don't know that that's me. I think that's Facebook doing stuff. Because seriously, I don't see any that are being removed in that regard. But I will see what I can do. Yeah. So, I'm going to pop this out real quick. There we go. Give me a second, and that'll be coming up. Republican from Texas on video trying to barricade the door of the House chambers during the Trump insurrection. She looks scared to death. Oh, yes. As it should be, because she wasn't in on the game. And by the way, thanks Mimi and Benny Loco and Annie Sarah for gifting the sub, by the way, and Pliable Stats and Carl. Thank you so much for the 666. Appreciate you guys. Okay, so continuing. Here we go.
The best test of whether you had freedom and free speech. So from what you're talking about with Marcuse, and now it's almost just the opposite. It's
the opposite. Why is it the opposite? Because apparently we're cool with the terms of service of a business. That Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and other sites can, just like a restaurant, limit the language you use before they ask you to leave as a customer, or no longer require you as a customer as a private business. Now, the difference between, say, a restaurant doing this, like kicking you out if you use racial epithets or anti-gay slurs, and you're bugging the help, and you're bugging the owner, and you're bugging the other patrons, and it's not like, racist burger, there's one place where the person, like a liberal, comes in and starts going, I don't know, I think all people are equal and we should get along, and they kick that person out for violating their terms of service, right? But the idea being that Twitter and Facebook have the same rights as a restaurant or a store if you're acting up or acting an ass or creating a scene or being, using violent rhetoric, using racial epithets, just being awful. That a physical place can ask you to leave. So, of course, a virtual place can ask you to leave. And the physical place, you could argue, is your tax dollars make that regularly possible. Whereas because you pay for the street lights that lead to that place, and you pay for the water in general for the town, there's a certain, everybody chips in so that it benefits it. But the virtual place, you can't get kicked out of Twitter or off of Twitter because Twitter isn't a place. It's not real. It's a virtual environment, just like every other social media network. And you have not physically lost any rights any more than you did if you go into this restaurant and they're like, stop screaming the N-word like you're Bill O'Reilly, and or we're going to have to ask you to leave.
People can make their own judgments about what people are allowed to say and not say, and then either cut them off or censor them or cancel them. Or how did that change take place?
That change never took place. Name a period on broadcast television where you were allowed to go on and go, yeah, say whatever you want. We're not bleeping anything. No radio has a dump button. The illusion, the only thing new in the free speech argument is that right-wingers somehow have been baited into this idea that you're allowed to be shitty in public on the public airwaves or in private businesses in a way they never would have before.
Totally different view of speech. One is free, and the other is up to the subjective judgment of whoever has the power, whether it's private.
Well, if they have the power, then they're not denying you the rights. Your rights are a power that you have, but you give them up to use someone else's space. You enter someone's home for a meal, you're understood you're going to have dinner, and then you try to fuck their cat, they're going to ask you to leave. And just because they invited you in the first place doesn't mean they have to put up with any of your cat fucking. Rudy.
Power or government power. This would be a good time to take a short break. I accomplished a
Oh my God. I accomplished a lot, like getting more orange and having like the hairspray. Wait, let me scroll this past and get past this business. Yikes. Hold on. Hang on, dude. Okay, here we go.
That the First Amendment is the First Amendment.
This is genius. We're so lucky to get this. Never has it been the ideas so finely shaved where we're parsing even the smallest details.
It's not the 10th Amendment or the 25th Amendment. It's the First Amendment, because the framers believed that this was so integral to the functioning of a free society and to the...
Yeah, they didn't jump straight to not quartering soldiers. That wasn't the one right on the tip of their tongue.
Avoidance of shifting and moving towards a totalitarian society that they put...
Moving towards it? Fucko, they were fighting off a monarchy. The tyranny they were talking about was being overtaken by the king again.
First and foremost, the freedom of expression of ideas and the freedom of religious association. The shift, while it's accelerated in the past couple of years to...
no, it hasn't.
To a mind-boggling rate, I suspect
Well, in all fairness, Rudy's mind is easier to boggle than others.
More than 20, 30 years ago, with the entry into academia of many of the radicals of the 70s, the individuals who made up the Weathermen and the Students for Democratic Society.
Yes, the First Amendment has officially been blown up.
The hard left radical groups started to move into legitimate, quote unquote, enterprise, into academia.
You mean during the Reagan years?
Into, I would suggest, also into the civil service and into the private sector. So now you've had 20, 30 years have gone by. These individuals are now the tenured professors at universities. They're high-level civil servants in all of our federal...
No, Ken is not a moderator. People on the Facebook thing, he just isn't. I don't know what to tell you. He isn't. Doesn't work that way. Seriously.
Agencies and in state agencies, and they've accomplished, they've reached high positions in the private sector. So now they can wield influence and power. And with the
Environmental Coffee House, this is a dude who was former FBI, who wrote a book. Rudy's having him on because he writes for the Epic Times about the Bill of Rights. So he wrote a book, or he wrote an article that apparently Rudy thinks is important in the Epic Times. I don't know how much more I can put up with this because it's fucking dull as a razor someone found in the wreckage of the Titanic.
In the elections now, with the such that the Democrat Party has essentially unchallenged majority in every.
What the fuck are you talking about? It's 50-50 in the Senate, fucko. Unchallenged.
Sector. I mean, in Congress and in the executive.
If they were unchallenged, all the Republicans would vote with them. They're in lockstep, even on bills that the majority of Republicans are for. God, this is annoying.
Now they can exert the authority that they've been building over the decades.
Well, that's quite a difference. That was never a point of contention between Republicans and Democrats. Free speech was a given. I would say maybe liberal Democrats were more protective of it. Conservative Republicans.
Oh, fucking get on with it. I'm sorry. I can't. I thought this was going to be sort of classic Rudy, I guess. This is aggravatingly boring. I don't know what the fuck point they're making here. Honest to God. And this is 58 fucking minutes long. Yawn. All right, first of all, we can't stick on this the entire time because we have answers coming our way. I'm jumping over. I'm bailing on that. I'm ditching it. I can't do it anymore. That's fucking ridiculous. Not when we can have a double shot of Dum Dum in an 11-minute clip that's just, obviously going to be magic. Because it's Dan Bongino who is looking for TP for his bunghole. This is how we defeat big tech censorship and cancel culture. See, while Rudy's bitching about it with the weird, I don't know, like Ichabod Crane dude, they're just over here solving it. Now, he doesn't have a radio show anymore, but hey, this is, he's got a guest on, Dave Rubin. Now, Dave Rubin, if you don't know, was a member of the Young Turks. And then he saw that the Young Turks business model sucked and realized there was a lot of right-wing money to be made just by switching over. Ooh, baby. So he just popped off and started his own show and had like a right-wing conversion. And that's where he is now because he knows what side of the bread his butter is on, buddy. And now he's hanging out with Bongino. I guess we'll see what's printed here. It's probably this is how we defeat big tech. He's going to have the lightning words across there. But he's got Rubin on the show. And man, yes, get your 5 eggs ready because this is going to be a double dose of dum-dum. By the way, and I guess technically speaking, while they will complain about free speech in many of the same ways that Rudy and Ichabod Crane were, the reality is, I guess, is that Rubin kicked himself off TYT, and this asshole just kicked himself off of Cumulus Radio. So these are some self-canceling sons of bitches. Let's go.
All right, I'm really excited to welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you. There are 2 genders and 2 genders only. Go, lay that pipe at the beginning. And ladies and gentlemen, what are you, the MC at a comedy show in 1987? This is how we defeat big tech, leftist, cancel culture. This is way bigger than the other two.
Good friend and a warrior for free speech to the show, my friend Dave Rubin. Hey, Dave, thanks so much for joining us. Great job, by the way.
By warrior for free speech, he means he agrees with him on all the same points, and they talk to people they only agree with in their own little environments while talking as they talk more. They do, it's like they do what I do, except they bring on people who agree with them and only talk to people that agree with them so that they know they're right.
Last night.
Dan, it's good to be with you. Man, what a day yesterday. Did we make a dent? I think we actually might have made a dent in the big tech Death Star.
Well, we're figuring it out, Dave.
Yeah, you totally did. Because Truth Social is coming out. Is that why?
And guys like you and me have figured that the economies of scale and scope, they work. I mean, the left figured that out a long time ago when they combined.
We did? We combined what? Sorry.
Forces and combined assets to fight against free speech because they're communist totalitarian losers that sadly they've had a lot of wins. And I saw a story like this yesterday.
Well, I mean, obviously, so just in case you were wondering, Dan Bongino had just said that the way to win is to be a communist totalitarian loser, that it's just a winning way to go. To be totalitarian, especially, is a winner, which is why these guys totally and totalitarianly only talk to people that totally agree with them. And they're, of course, communists because they believe in, corporate welfare, for me and none for thee.
To get your comment on before we get to Locals and Rumble partnering up. George Soros, Reid Hoffman, names you're familiar with. left-wingers, big money, Reed Hoffman, the head of LinkedIn, combining with Nandini Jammy, the cat lady, in this new operation to censor people on the internet. And they're calling it, unironically, Dave, this is not a joke, Good Information Inc. Your thoughts?
Good Information Inc. Let's see what that is. Good Information Inc. Billionaires back new media firm to combat disinformation. This is this guy right here. Dangerous information, bad information, information, good information, disinformation, wrong information, disproven, misinformation. Oh, look, Tucker gets his own square. Here's a story of a chubby moron. Fake information. All right, so technically not information at all, really. And then where, sorry. That's it. And so we click on one of these. Okay, let's bad information. America's in an information crisis. Oh, we scroll down. Look at this. Disinformation threatening public health. Okay, 96 million basic. Okay, what? Sign of good information. Does what? The need for new solutions is a civic incubator that invests in new business models and smart solutions to counter disinformation where it spreads by increasing the flow of good information online. Oh, I see. I almost read that as they're increasing the flow of good information when what they really are is eliminating people's freedom of speech online. They're not increasing good information. They're stopping the truly good, which they see as bad. Facts, trust, democracy, Good Information Inc. will invest in and partner with media companies and platforms that center the communication. That center the communities they deserve. That center the communities they serve, their interests and their media consumption habits in their reporting. Oh, centered in their reporting. What a weird leap. And their content distribution strategies. Where it believes there's urgent need to regulate. Here it is. There's an urgent need for regulation of social media platforms, as well as increased investment in new models that place a higher value on serving communities, truth over clickbait, and protecting democracy over profits. This is the advisory board. Tara McGowan, Dan Pfeiffer, who was in the White House under Obama, Eli Prazer, Maya Peterson, Robbie Myers, Nandini Jammy, Mark Jacob. Former Metro editor of the Chicago Tribune, completely suspect. Stephanie Valencia, Michael Tubbs, Keith Hernandez, Tiffany Muller, Alana. Okay, so these folks, Jen Gunter, who's a physician, God knows. Okay, our portfolio: the Courier Newsroom, Keystone, the Gander. It's basically a media conglomerate for this. America's, and so you just sign. It goes to the same place. Really? I just click on the same square and any different square and it doesn't. Okay. 109 Americans can't name their governor. That's something worth combating. 96 million Americans believe the election was stolen. Well, only because I believe that there were a lot of people's votes that weren't counted because because Trump stole them. We'll just deal with it. 89 million Americans believe voter fraud is a major problem. I think that's a high number. 260 million can't name their state legislators. That's more forgivable. 185 Americans don't trust traditional media. That's a Forbes article. Fewer Americans than ever before trust the mainstream media. Gee, it's almost as if that's been a strategy for a very long time. Okay, so they're starting this, and they're going to have their own websites, and you can check their websites versus other stuff and compare what you're hearing.
You gotta love it, man. I mean, we are in 1984. George.
No, you're not. We are so fucking not. Because let's say, here's a good example. The Christian right. Remember those words. In like 1984, they take words that mean something and make them mean nothing. The Christian right is one of those organizations because they are not Christian in any sense of the word, and they're always wrong. So Christian right is the exact opposite of what you would call them a lot of times.
Well, would be proud of the work that he did, roughly 70 years ago, something like that. Of course, it's called good. It's called good. I mean, these people are ridiculous. First off, on the Soros.
Who drinks out of a coffee cup like that? We'll let that hang. That's just weird. All right.
Front. George Soros is evil. He is a lefty collectivist Marxist, evil billionaire.
Ooh, collectivist right out of the gate. Somebody's been reading Ayn Rand. The collectivists, like when you hear the word collectivist dropped, that's either a new follower of Ayn Rand or a Deep Reads follower of Ayn Rand. Yeah, and we went straight to Soros. I mean, it's a Soros organization, so this is a whole Super Jew clip.
Who funds all sorts of NGOs and nonprofits across the world that destroy Western societies. That is what his MO is. And by the way, before Media Matters, which I'm sure...
Well, he's not doing a very good job, honestly. And by the way, are you telling us that George Soros was behind January 6th? That would be news.
...is watching this, says that Dave Rubin, uses some anti-Semitic trope. It has nothing to do with his religion. It's his actions, okay? So that...
Yeah, it's his actions being a money-grubbing globalist. Right.
That's number one. As for Reid Hoffman, this is the co-CEO of Netflix, who over the summer pumped millions and millions of dollars into ads on YouTube to take out our friend Larry Elder, who was running a really great campaign, and then suddenly...
Totally great. It was great. Great. I mean, it's not great for Netflix employees or the women that work there especially, but great otherwise.
When they realized that the recall was legit and Larry actually had a chance, next thing you know...
He had the chance to be governor while only garnering 12% of the vote.
Got millions from Reid Hoffman basically calling Larry Elder a white supremacist and saying he wants to kill you.
Well, I mean, it's obviously not a white supremacist. It's a... Did he call him out as one? Because that's fun. Play that clip.
Kids because of that.
Larry Elder is black. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying he's a bigot or serving interests other than his own folks, I suppose. You could make that argument. But obviously not. White supremacy is that's a hard sell point.
Then you've got Obama and Biden here and everything else. So this is what we're up against.
Wait a minute. Obama and Biden in California? The fuck is happening? When did California go blue? I thought this was Devin Nunes' state to do with what he would.
So, the funny part to me is that maybe 3 years ago when I would see stories like this, I'd be like, the machine just has so much power. It has so much energy. It's like there's nothing we can do. But because of the events of yesterday and some of the other things that Dan, you and I and some of our friends are working on, it's like I have hope right now. I really, really do.
Yeah, they have hope about making money off of this absolute right-wing paranoia. This is what he's talking about, by the way. It's like there's a new villain in town because Soros is funding this media thing. That's just stories. He was getting bored with his own bullshit. And now this thing shows up and oh my God, gravy train.
Yeah, I have hope too, Dave. This Rumble's local partnership.
Thank you, Treva.
Rumble's been a free speech alternative to YouTube and is focused strongly on building the railroad of the internet, the pipes, and that's working out well too.
Is it? Oh, you mean like what's the word? Infrastructure?
Rumble's not just a video company.
Don't say infrastructure.
But I had my eyes on locals for a long time. You and I have been discussing this for a while because I thought your idea was genius. You explained a little bit, I heard in many of your media appearances, how the whole experience with some people in the space, Carl and others, how they were attacked. And you were like, listen, we can't have this. We got to have a...
Hold on. Wait a second. What the living hell? No.
Direct connection between creators, content creators, you, me, by the way, not just politics. You want to get music, you have some poems you want to read on locals, knock yourself out.
Yeah, finally a space that's safe for poetry. That's what he's really been worried about. That's what Rudy ends up getting to in that other fucking boring video that was grinding on for fucking ever, is that eventually we're going to get to where's poetry going to find its home again? You can't do it. They won't even let you rhyme anymore.
It's not a political site. It's just a free speech site. You said we have to connect to create.
So you can post like child porn and videos of just like people have taken of domestic violence that they've carried out on their children and their mates and that kind of stuff, or people can just post snuff films, that kind of free speech stuff. We don't want to slow anything down, man. It's free speech, baby. No rules. on the interwebs? You want some revenge porn? This is the dude you go to, kiddo. You can either go to Lindell TV/Frank, or you can go right over here. Yeah, if you want, like, we should all just go over there and dump some naughty limericks, right? Beheadings, absolutely. ISIS. I know you've been having a hard time finding a place where you can put your account up and put your videos on. These are your dudes. It doesn't even have to be political. You can read poetry while you do it.
The supporters and these patriots directly, and you develop locals.
Patriots or, Macedonian hacker farms posing as Americans. Who gives a fuck? It's all about ad rev. We need more. The more, the merrier.
The audience how it works, where they can find it, and what spurred you to do it.
Well, I love the way
What spurred you to do it?
you introed that, because first off, yeah, it's not just for politics people. Yeah, you and I are creatures of politics, but this is for every.
I would have stopped at creatures, actually.
And by the way, cancel culture is not just coming for politicians and people that talk about politics, right? Dave
Yeah, poets are fucked.
Chappelle knows a little something about that right now. Like, they will come for you if you have any unique thought whatsoever. So,
Well, no, they're not. If that was true, Gary Busey wouldn't even be allowed out of the house. He'd be just mobbed all the time, because that man is all unique thoughts all the time.
for 5-6 years,
Good point, Bob Carmody, by the way. Vogue on poetry is the one excluded point. But it's also alien poetry, and they don't get Earth. The Bill of Rights doesn't apply to aliens. Real ones.
my show, I was talking about the leftist assault on free speech. At first, I was talking about it as a lefty, right? And obviously,
Now I'm talking about it as a full of shit grifter who'll just talk to anybody who wants to gripe with me on my show.
that's not my position anymore. But I kept saying, between big tech, between the cultural norms, no one's going to be allowed to say anything soon enough. And
Yeah, these stupid cultural norms where you can't post, nude pictures of children. Oh, you know what? Rubin's sick of being marginalized. That's the marginalized community. The way the KKK has been marginalized. The way pedophiles, or I guess they call themselves MAPs now, have been marginalized by the community. Why is it that there are some thoughts that are just not allowed? Shit.
forward to 2021. I mean, here we are. Dan, you may remember back in July, right before I went off the grid for August, the last thing that happened to me was I was banned on Twitter for saying that federal vaccine mandates were coming. Yeah, they came.
Is that what you were banned off for saying that they're going to happen? Was that all you said? Hold on. Rubin kicked off Twitter. So, let's see. Let's see. So, what did he say real quick? Let's just go back. Why did they kick you off Twitter, Dave?
That federal vaccine mandate.
Sorry, hold on. Wait, sorry. Why'd you get kicked off Twitter?
Dan, you may remember back in July, right before I went off the grid for August, the last thing that happened to me was I was banned on Twitter for saying that federal vaccine mandates were coming. Yeah, they came, they're here, and they're pushing even more. But the beautiful...
Sorry, that's why you were kicked off? That's all you said? So you tweeted, vaccine mandates are coming, and Twitter kicked you off. And that's what you want to say, and just what you said. And so if I go to the tweet, what you said was just that vaccine mandates are coming. Is that what I'm going to find? Let's hear that one more time. What was that? What was that, Dave?
I was banned on Twitter for saying that federal vaccine mandates were coming.
Okay, so he was banned on Twitter for saying vaccine mandates are coming. Well, let's see. What was it? Let's see. Insanity. Twitter just locked out Rubin report. Everything he said is 100% accurate. Another instance, Democrats, big tech working together to censor political distance. Here's the tweet that got him kicked off. Let's go to that. Let's go to an up close and personal. This is the tweet that did it. They want a federal vaccine mandate for vaccines. Well, there he goes. That's all he needed to say. Obviously, just saying they wanted it got him kicked. Oh, wait, there's more. Which are clearly not working as promised just weeks ago. So the vaccine is not working. And the assumption would be, all right, people are getting and transmitting COVID despite the vax. Plus, now they're prepping us for booster shots. A sane society would take a pause. We do not live in a sane society. So this is all basically the reason he got kicked off is he violated the terms of service about the medical misinfo about the effectiveness of the vaccines. People are getting and passing it with the idea that they're dying from it and that it's not working as it said. All vaccines, you can still get it. A lot of vaccines, you can still pass it, but you won't die from it, which is the point. But that's not what David got kicked off. Dave got kicked off for saying they want a federal mandate for vaccines. Not for the part which they are clearly not working as promised just weeks ago. And he's got a blue check mark most of the time. So, but I was wrong. That's all he said. All he said was they're coming. Right?
They came, they're here, and they're pushing even more. But the beautiful thing was because I had created Locals, a place where we owned the tech, I could directly communicate with my...
Oh, unlike Parler, where they just use and I know that there's some asshole who was behind Parler who never bothered to buy the full security features. He just used the WordPress security thing to protect people's private information on Parler. Some asshole who's behind Parler did that. I wouldn't say this about Locals, Dave, if I were you, in front of an asshole like that. I don't know who it was. I can't remember. But somebody... Anyway, so you own Locals. You started Locals to compete with Getter and Parler and Fucker and Truther and Dopey and Doc.
Community through iOS app, Android app. I could live stream. So even though Twitter took me out, I was still live streaming to thousands of people. I could get...
That's your primary live stream point? Dude.
Notifications out to them. That then allowed my people to contact guys like you on Twitter and put the public pressure on until Twitter actually took back their suspension and said it was an error. Now, of course, it wasn't an error. It was just that I had enough public pressure. I had the tech to force the issue. And that's what I want for everybody. I want you to own your stuff. I want you to own your video and audio. I don't want to own your video and audio.
Okay, so let's see, hold on. So did he just launch this? I'm sorry. There you go, Locals there. So basically, Locals, find creators or communities, empowering authentic communities. The content you love from the people you love. I think it's Dinesh D'Souza and Bongino and Coffee with Scott Adams, who's, good fun. There's Rubin. And it's Tulsi Gabbard. Look at that. And Gothics. We like Gothics. She's all right. She's a little confused sometimes, but she's all right. Z-Dog MD. All right. Liz Wheeler. She seems not caring at all. Kim Iverson. Look at these folks. You could sign up. And it doesn't have to be politics. I mean, sure, you got Charlie Kirk and China Uncensored's got another thing. And I'm sure there's something on here. We got to scroll down. There's got to be a fucking poet in here somewhere. Didn't know anything's coming. Welcome to my Locals page. Babylon B, Chef Gruel. Nope. Kayvon's here. Nope. Look, Dr. Drew. So it's just basically an asshole magnet. There's Ariel. She's all right, I guess. Authentic communities. It's basically a subscription site. They just borrow and they just use an Amazon server space for whatever they have, and then they take a slice. Support creative independence. Pay the creator, not the platform. It's basically an alt version of a Patreon where you send it directly to it. And thank God there's a place to go see Tulsi. Anyway, so they've started this site, And I'm sure it'll do great. I'm sure it won't be buried under the pile of all the other ones. Was
We're
Gutfeld
building
on there?
digital homes.
Wait.
That's why this thing with Rumble is so cool.
That's what it is. It's like not so much digital homes, Dave. It's sort of a digital gated community.
Because we're building the home. So your home for your content, your community. You own the data, your user data. If you leave us, by the way, you can have the data. We don't need to own it. It's all yours. We're not selling it. But then what you said about the pipes,
which is also true of Patreon and the other sites, and keep copies of your shit. Man.
The internet. That's what we needed. So we built the homes, but homes can't exist without infrastructure underneath. You need water, you need electricity, you need all that stuff.
Yeah, you need sewage. You're going to need a lot of sewage. I've seen who's on there. Yeah, sewage is going to be a big problem. Just saying, there's going to be a lot of clogged toilets. You're going to need to have a sign on the locals website that says, please only toilet paper in the shitter.
That's what Rumble is doing. So we're not going to be kicked off the way Parler was blown apart. And by the way, that was
it was blown apart. Ow. He's sitting right there. That's not, ow.
Mafia tactic by big tech because, it wasn't that they were upset.
Owie. Oh, does Rubin know? You have to know. Fucking Bongino was behind Parler. He was one of the early investors. They totally shit the bed. He wasn't attacked by mafia tactics. They had a screen door on their battleship. Fucking hell. This is, maybe that's hard. Shit. Watch Bongino's face when he says this. Son of a bitch.
So we're not going to be kicked off the way Parler was blown apart. And by the way, that was a total mafia tactic by big tech because, it wasn't that they were upset that coordination on January 6th had happened on Parler because we know that most of it happened on Facebook.
It was that it was a shitty website with no security features. It wasn't blown apart, fucko.
It was a mafia tactic because there was a new guy in town.
Thanks, Pamela.
And he was making some money and they took him out. So
way to save it. Yeah, bring him. That's what they did. There's a new guy in town. He was too hot for AM.
Really, right now, we don't have all the pieces, right? Like
I know it's a screen door on a on a submarine. I was making the point that there's no security on that. Never mind. Wasn't the end. It was sank. Never mind.
I don't want to overpromise, but we have a lot of the pieces, and we're working on the other pieces. That's why this is really as great a partnership as you possibly can find.
Yeah, we're building.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's certainly better than partnering with some asshole who only uses the trial version of the security software on a website, leaving all of the users' data open to even the lowest rung hackers on the internet. It's obviously better than that, Dave. So thanks for bringing it up. Shit.
And just an incredible redundancy to make this thing.
Yes. Say Parler again. Motherfucker, I said say Parler again.
Proof in the future. And Dave, I think one of the most important points you just brought up there, when Twitter tried to cancel you had this backup system. Yep. We're not.
Hold on. Wait, Andrew says they don't know that yet. The FDA said themselves. There's video out there saying it will be 5 more years before they know if it works and the dangers. Hey, Jay, everyone has a choice. No, it isn't. They had emergency authorization use. It's safe and effective. It lowers your chances of going to the hospital and dying from it, just like all other vaccines do. I already did. There's no I don't know, maybe. There's no maybe. Statistically, that's how it works. It's not going to change your fucking DNA. All that's nonsense. It works. It's functional. And even the heart issues that they say, myocarditis and stuff like that, is having more to do with the fact that they actually hit a vein instead of putting the vaccine in a muscle. That is literally the primary reason why that's happening. Fuck.
With Twitter, we don't.
Yeah, it's from Parler, the French, right? And they managed to make that sound dumb, which is where Parler comes from. Well pointed out. Yeah.
Need to. We're saying very simply, Twitter's a middleman, folks. They're allowing you to get your information out to their platform. Locals is an app and is a website, but we're not the middleman. It's your data. We don't want it. We're not interested in. I don't mean.
Oh, so you're involved in it again. Okay, so they're not interested in your data, guys. They're not interested. They don't want your data. You can have it. along with everyone else. Everyone else can also have your data because it's going to be a fucking security mess like all the other shit.
Interested in, we want you there. We don't want your data. It's
Yes. Do not mess with Bongino. He has a podcast. Oh heavens.
You are sovereign over your data. It is your locals is about you. It's not about us. We just gave you a platform for you to.
We just made a platform to slice off a chunk of your earnings. They're not trying to make money off of your stuff. You own your shit. All they're trying to do is start a commie website where they equally sponge off everyone. It's a commune. That's what it is. It's a digital commune. It's a narco-syndicalist website. Shit.
Directly your data. And like you said, and I want to reiterate, it's not just about you and I. Our entire lives are politics. Yeah, I don't care if you're a poet, a comedian, you have content. Do not let Twitter and Facebook Live take it for you for free. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, it's terrible when Facebook Live steals your poetry. The fuck?
Why are you giving it up then for free? Connect directly to an audience. You can put some free content out there. I have some that's behind a subscription on locals.com, which insulates me from any ad pressure. And you, Dave, follow Rubin Report. We got the next.
Yeah, because if an ad runs, then you start having to agree with anything that Geico does. And then you might as well be a slave.
Sousa, Coffee with Scott.
They run. I don't want to part with all those Epic Times ads. So I got to play footsie with those guys.
I'm sorry, Dave. I know I'm going on, but I'm very excited. I've had my eyes on this for a while because you really tapped into something here.
You really tapped into something. We can rebrand Parler's media portion as something else to get the stank of Parler off of it. And we've got all these unused servers as everybody that was on Parler ran to Telegram to follow Lynn Wood over there and now is jumping over to Truth Social where they're going to eat shit over there as well. And because the whole website's built on fucking Flash or some nonsense.
That the essence of this movement going forward is not just the pipes, but it's the home that you own. It's your data. You own everything in it.
Well,
yeah, it's almost like, what would I call it? Oh yeah, a website. You own it, like a URL you buy and start a website. Now, understand, you own your local's home. If you go on there, you build your empire there, you own it. I mean, if their website goes down, your shit goes with it, but it's yours. And if they decide at some point to change their terms of service because they want to make it a safe space for right-wingers and decide that after a while, I start posting, shit on Trump videos and then I don't monetize them on purpose so that they don't get a slice, they'll just get mad at me for using up server space and they'll kick me to the curb. But it's yours. That's the important thing. There's some lovely filth down here.
Like calling it a digital home because it's like the guy that built my house, he built.
Yes, it's a digital home. It's with digital throw pillows and an incinerator.
House. I paid him for the house and then he left. He's not now responsible for what I do in the house. So it's a very clean metaphor for how this thing operates. I'll tell you something awesome, which is that when
does that guy take a portion of the income you make while you live in that house? If so, fire your realtor, dum-dum.
I was raising funds, and you know how
I'm sorry, I have a thing for shitty metaphors.
It is to raise funds for tech, sure. Especially when you're thought of as sort of scary and conservative and that sort of thing. And we had a lot.
Neither of you are thought that way. Bongino's a little scary just kind of in general, but it has nothing to do with his politics. It's the way he leans in and sniffs and kind of like hulks up on his microphone. It's the closest thing to it. There's officially nothing frightening about Dave Rubin, ever. Like if you saw Dave Rubin in an alley, in a dark alley, you'd go, wow, this dark alley has a manager.
Doors closed in our faces. but I was at one dinner less than a
Thanks,
year
Diane.
ago. This is even before we started talking to Rumble. It was it was December in Miami last
Tell me the truth. I don't know what to believe. When was it?
December. And I'm sitting at a table, a bunch of investors there, like well-known, powerful investors. And
Oh, yeah, of course. Money people. Yes, globalists. I hear you. Was George Soros. I hear you. Right, go ahead.
on my locals, I just a post. I said, hey, I'm sitting at a table with a bunch of investors right now. Can you guys give me your brutally honest assessment of what locals has been like for you guys? I did not even look at the responses, and then I just handed my phone around the table to the investors, and we got investors at that meal. So,
wow. So it's almost as if they were already bought in on the idea of a right-wing platform to work around and make money off of right-wing talk because they know that tit hangs low and is full of milk all the fucking time. And they realize that any money that Trump's leaving on the table that he doesn't sucker out of people at the Save America rallies and on his website, it's got to be floating out there somewhere. Let's just hoover that shit up for the price of hosting some servers on the Amazon network. And how many people were on there? Fucking 2. What, are you going to get a bad review from Bongino? And who else was on? Who was going to be on there that was going to shit the bed? Where is it? The fuck was that? I thought I had it. Where's the? All right, let's put it back up. Locals. All right, there we go. Yeah. So who on here? Were you afraid that Dinesh D'Souza was gonna give you the real inside hit on the? My wife Debbie wishes that you. My wife Debbie, of course, thinks that the site could be slightly more racist. Really? The Tulsi Gabbard didn't have any issues? I got shitty signal out here in Hawaii. These are all people who've joined since then. Hey, like Viva Barnes Law was in there since November 1st, 2020. You can tell who's joined. Then Charlie Kirk's relatively new. He's very excited to be here. You know me, Park. Who's the early adopters? These are the posts. Who's been here the longest? So Coffee with Scott Adams was there, April 13th, 2020. He hasn't posted since? Shit. Intro video. See more content from this community. Gothic's just joined in June. Rubin's been there only since May 4th. What? You're gonna just see if it took off? Shit. No, and by the way, I'm for this. I'm a big fan. Go for it, locals. Nothing's better than these assholes who are spreading themselves thin across 9 different sites while they all get vampired by the same advertisers.
tells you we have built something. Imagine doing that with Twitter. Imagine handing your phone for a bunch of investors to look at your Twitter responses, your Facebook responses. But when you have just...
Facebook knows that the angrier people are, the more money they make. The investors sitting around the table would go, holy shit, this is incendiary. It's kind of like our trolls. We have some trolls in the chat room today. And hi, guys, thanks for being here. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Because you guys, when you watch, if you just hate watch my show, sure, it helps. I mean, it calculates the watch time and all that stuff. But the minute you start typing stuff, the algorithm says, shit, not only are they watching, but this guy is engaging. So the people want to watch, and it's getting them up off their ass and on their keyboards, which means they're more likely to watch advertising. They're more likely to stick around during ad breaks. They're more likely to wait and click through an ad in person. And that means they're in a highly emotionally charged state. They're typing away and they're watching an ads, which is perfect, like subliminal advertising. That's the kind of shit that YouTube and Facebook and all these sites go for. They love the trolling. So, and again, remember, give a thumbs up and a like to the show, guys. It always helps. But also, if you feel like giving us a thumbs down, knock yourself out, because that's just as engaging. The algorithm does not give a fuck. I don't know how many times I have to tell people this, but trolls You help us no matter what you say. Now, obviously, if you spew racial epithets or you're just generally bullying or violent, you got to go. I mean, yeah, you're in someone else's house. Mind your business. Or at least if you're going to be shitty, just know that we're going to broom you. And at the same time, you will be forever an example of how, as a representative of your side of the political sphere, you show them to be scumbags before you're shown the door. That's just life. If you have the vocabulary and you're able to articulate your ideas, you can stick in a way that's not violent or racially or I guess sexually insensitive in terms of, people's being, then we don't really have a problem with it. As a matter of fact, like I said, you help. You get it's amazing when you have to, and you can't use the racial epithets and the swear words and that kind of stuff, and you got to actually type out your thoughts. That is engagement, kids. So I know that. I figured that out a while back. And the algorithm, like I said, doesn't give a shit. What the algorithm will do, if you watch and you don't want to watch this show, you have a different algorithm than the people who regularly watch the show. People who regularly watch my show have 4 or 5 things they also watch. And if you see in YouTube, for example, there's always this, people who watch this also watch this, that introduces you to new things related to what you watch. That's how the algorithm works. Now, it only works so far if people are insulated in an ideological bubble. But when trolls come in, I show up in their feed. And people who aren't even related to that person, the troll who's watching, who types something in, if they watch something that person also watches regularly, they'll start offering my show to those folks. Now, those folks might be all in like that troll and be another troll, and it'll attract another troll and spread it even further. Or they might be half on the game of that troll. Like they think some of the shows they watch are good and then they hate watch other stuff and they're trolling the anti-troll stuff or what have you. And during that process, my show spreads because of that interaction. So the trolls are a valuable part of our growth here on the channel. And we've seen that as we've allowed, as we've expanded and the trolls have started to show up, I can actually track in the insights that they give me on the different channels how it, boosts me over time through that. Yeah, so trolls keep coming back. Don't worry about it. And also know this, though. My chat is different than a lot of other what you would consume as left-wing chats in that we don't give a fuck. We don't get upset. Our feelings aren't hurt. We don't go, oh Lord, he said, let's go, Brandon. Oh no. Right? Nobody cares. We really don't. It's amusing. Even when you're genuinely awful, some random person that we have in here who might be more sensitive than the rest might, if you say something truly violent or truly racist, might have oh my goodness. But the rest of us are like, who's this asshole? And more to the point, who do they think they are? Because apparently they're convinced that they're interesting. So I'm fascinated by this whole thing. Now, they are going to develop on locals, I have no doubt, an anti-trolling thing just like Truth Social, which, by the way, my rules in my chat are less of a confinement on your ideas than Trump's Truth Social rules. You are allowed to speak more freely as a troll in my chat than someone on Trump's site. They will kick you to the curb. Like, people can shit talk me because I don't care. But if you shit talk Trump on Truth Social, they'll kick you out for, and I'm quoting, for any reason or no reason at all. Because that's America. All right.
$2 paywall, you clean up 99% of the mess. And by the way, one of the ways we're really dealing well with free speech is that you can come into my community, you can say whatever you want. If you break the laws of the United States, you got a bigger problem than me. But let's say you come into my community, you pay the couple bucks a month to get in there, and then all day long you're just, talking crap about me. Well, either I profit from you, or I can boot you out of my community, but you're not booted out of locals as a platform, meaning I'm just saying, hey, you can't come into my house.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to even tell the other people that I interact with on Locals that you're a racist psychopath, and you post beheading videos in my chat all the time because, it's you think it's sport, and you're doing it in a way where you're not directly promoting it. You're just using it as like just putting GIFs up because there's nothing technically illegal in the laws of the United States about posting those kind of things. So you can just lay it out there. And technically speaking, if what you're posting is not verified child porn, then who can say if that's if she's 9 or 19? I mean, honestly, right, Dave?
And talk crap about me,
right.
But you can still go into Dan's if he wants you there, et cetera, et cetera. So we're treating.
Yes, Dan loves people to come into his chat and talk crap about Dave Rubin. Did you hear what that motherfucker said about Parler?
the speech issues in a way that is much more relevant. It's much more in kind to how we all deal with it on a day-to-day basis than the way big tech just takes you out because...
Yeah, get the fuck out of my house and go into Dave's house. You can do whatever the fuck you want until Dave kicks you out.
You happen to say that men and women have biological differences.
Yeah, and I love that analogy, Dave. And by the way, if you want to pay to join my community to insult me, go right ahead. I will take you. Come right on in, folks, because I will use...
Yeah, but why... But why would I do that when I can insult you here for free? The fuck?
Money to donate to conservative candidates. So please go right at. Reminds me of Dana Lash's mailbag, where she reads mean tweets on the air to raise money in a sponsored segment, which is a great job by Dana. Dave, you've been generous with your time. Congrats with this spectacular success of Locals. It's been amazing, folks. I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, it's huge. There's nearly 30 people in their creators thing. Hold on. I need to look up something. Join creators. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to click on their creator. I've been thinking about Control Your Destiny with Tulsi Gabbard. She's going to walk. Oh my God. What happened to Tulsi? Good Lord. Locals is for independent creators. Publish your content, engage with your supporters, and make money from subscription evil. Hi, I'm Dave Rubin. Are you a poet, but your poems are too racist for YouTube? Hello. How it works. Okay, 1, create a community. I already did that. Shit on it. 2, set your price. My price is whatever people feel the laughs and information I give them are worth, and therefore they can either become a patron or they can use this Venmo. A lot of people will do just that. I don't set a price. I ask for support, but I don't insist on it. I don't put anything behind a paywall. It's a dick move. That's the kind of shit people like Bongino do. Publish content. All right, done. Engage with supporters. I do that. I also engage with everyone else. I don't know what kind of weird, like do you only talk to people who subscribe? Kind of an asshole? Kind of locals. You change this fucking thing to townie. Get paid. Boom, 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 boom. I feel like I need some sort of like, do I have a, hold on. It's gotta be a, no, that's not it. Shit. Huh. Do I have, oh, it's in here. Get paid. Get your money, man, and get paid. Oh, grow your community. Get paid. All right, sorry. Shit. Publish your content. Locals exclusive podcast. Yes, it's a gated community. It's not a fucking house. It's a gated community for right-wing content. Where else will you hear my Jim Gaffigan backstory? I can't wait. Schedule is, you never find content like this on YouTube for free forever. Shit. Publish your content library. We host all your video and audio and content and turn into an ad-free library for your supporters easily as other guy. Schedule release, notify members. So what happens if you don't want to charge? Community interactions, direct manage, live messaging, subscribers, monetize through subscriptions. So you got to get 500. So you got to get them to do that. This is, oh, look at that. 500 subscribers at 10 a month. You're getting 4205. So well, that's not 500 plus 500. We got 5,000. And yet is someone taking 805 and $795 worth of where'd the $795 go? Apparently the person who built my house is stealing $700 out of every $5,000 I make. Good Set your contribution levels. Promo codes. Yeah, don't forget. You are in control. You are in control. Gross revenue is Yes, people are making $305,000 in 7 days on there with 25,000 members. I'm sure this is not just a graphic. This has to be the number of subscribers that are all on this thing. Yes, everyone else is going to sign up like everyone else on the site. Moderation, you decide what supporters are allowed to post and what goes on in your community. So it's basically your own 1984. You just do your own private 1984. There's a dashboard. Wow, what streaming website would ever think of a thing like a dashboard? Member data. It's your data, and you can export it at any time and sell it. The help desk. Oh shit, I have problems. I need to. Okay, how's this? Creators and billing. Creators managing your community. How do I manage my community? Let's see. How do I give free trials to members? Very popular. What does it mean that Locals only has paid subscription communities? What is it? Locals is for independent creators to publish content, engage with supporters, and make money from subscriptions. So what does it mean? What does it mean? What will happen to my free community? You as a creator. Oh wait, hold on. Starting January 25th, all new communities on Locals will be paid communities. That's right. Freedom of speech ain't free. Oh yeah, freedom of speech ain't free. It costs about $10 a month, and somebody takes every 2 of every 10. All right. Any free community started before January 25th will be converted to a paid community. So fuck you. What will happen to my free community? You as a creator can still continue operating and posting content as you know. However, for members to post and comment, they will need to subscribe. It does not mean you have to start paying to keep a community. We only take a cut of what you make off a subscription. Oh, you only... but your free subscribers will be shown the fucking digital door. That's right. They're going to be kicked off the fucking Titanic. There's no safety net. Who gets the money that my subscribers pay? We encourage you to connect your Stripe account. Because they have a deal with Stripe. Is that one of the supporters? Dave? Was that one of the people at the table? Folks at Stripe? Because that conversation you were talking about where you were passing the shit around, that was when you had free communities. You didn't pass it around after the pay community deadline? All right. So you can, any subscriptions made will be paid directly to you. However, if you cannot set up your Stripe right away, don't worry. Locals will hold the money until you're able to set up that Stripe account. Once you do, you can't use any other version. Oh, no. What if I can't? What if I don't connect a Stripe account? We are aware that Stripe may not be an option or want for everyone. Therefore, we will be adding an option for you to convert your subscription earnings to Locals coins instead, where you can use the coins to subscribe to other communities you're interested in, along with more opportunities to use coins coming. So they're starting their own dipshit crypto. What a fucking grift. Yes. And of course, yes, big tech. Absolutely. Has anyone heard of the Hodge twins? They're a bunch of sellouts who need to get re-education. What's right and wrong? I used to listen to the Hodge twins when on their early stuff when they were mostly weightlifting shit. And now they just went right wing, kind of like Dave, because that's where the money is. I had a joke about them for a while when the Osundario brothers attacked Jesse Smollett. I was like, what? He hired the 2 Nigerian dudes to beat him up and pretend they were MAGA people. And I was like, why, were the Hodge twins out of town? All right, anyways. I have a paid community. Does this affect me? Nope. if you had a paid community where you have a Stripe connected already, this transition does not affect you at all. Well, what a stupid fucking idea. What? Of course not. So anyways, so it's a skim. It's basically these guys are just scraping money off the table. Of course the fucking investors all said yes, dipshit. Even the people complaining are paying to be there to complain. Say Parler again, motherfucker! Say Parler again! Seriously, you're an investor. You're sitting around this table, and you see all these people who are bitching? Yeah, they're paying $2 a week to bitch. They're what? Yeah, they're all paying $250 a week minimum to complain. Oh shit! Yeah, they've been there for weeks. They write shit when they do like shit, and they hate and they write shit when they hate shit, and they know they can't go anywhere else because we've told them that basically this is where free speech is. So they think they have to pay for our shit to prove they love free speech, which they're paying for, which is fucking brilliant. I'm in. It's fucking coins. The fuck? You have the locals coins. Are you shitting me? Call of Duty points have more monetary value. How many udders do maggots have? Seriously, who's the runt in this litter who can't find a tit on one of these maggots? Just everybody's like, Trump's got the big one, and then everybody else is just milking the shit out of these idiots. And then he's bought in on it with some of his money that he took his earnings off the top when Parler started to surge before the collapse.
And with humility and respect to please go out, download the app. Download the app today. I want to drive it to #1.
Yeah, please download it because he just told his radio show to go pound sand, so he needs the money. And he invested in it. Fuck.
Top 10, please.
Yes, it's a MAGA human centipede. Right. It's all these. Trump's in the front, and there's Bongino and fucking Rubin and all these people, and it's a shoehorn. It's like the snake in Conan. It's like two snakes facing each other, but they are one.
App. We've been rocketing up the charts. It was a genius idea. I'm proud to be part of Rumble and now part of Locals as well. Thanks for the time, Dave. We appreciate it.
Dan, give me 10 more seconds to just say one thing, which is
sure,
in the last 5 years of my life, I've met a lot of people who talk. They talk for a living and they talk and talk and talk, but they don't do anything.
I feel seen.
You do stuff, and that was a key part of me.
Yeah, you do. That's true. Thank you for bringing that up. Like, he did something like set up Parler and then use the membership security trial version of the security software from WordPress and never pay for it and get everyone's personal info stolen to the tune of like 7 terabytes of shit and never turn off never convert video and pictures onto Parler's platform, resetting the metadata, using actually taking metadata from people's phones, making January 6th the most easily trackable dumbass coup in the history of America. Thank you, Parler. Because Facebook and all those other places, it was hard to place. It looked like the Capitol, but the cops have to go through this thing. Okay, we got to go through this and show a picture of the person and we got to show in court with like multiple things. We go, here's the fucking picture. This is the hallway they were in. We know it's not a green screen because they're moving in this thing. And Your Honor, can I play the clip? And here's a clip of us in the actual hallway to prove they have to prove the person was in the place in the video that the person posted. Not with Parler, baby. Not with Parler. Parler just go, Your Honor, Exhibit A, if you'll notice is the metadata from this video. We're going to play this video right now. The metadata shows that this is exactly the video from the person's fucking phone because they were an asshole and signed up for Parler, which gave us every piece of detail. And we didn't even have to get a warrant for it because some asshole dumped it on the internet.
To be part of this operation because I was like, Dan doesn't just talk.
Operation is a good word for it. because it's like an operation in the same way that you're walking through the park and you pass out because somebody puts a rag in front of your face and you wake up and your kidneys are fucking missing. That kind of an operation. Right, Dave?
He gets stuff done.
Thanks,
so
Josh.
this is just the beginning, man. I'm psyched to be with you on this adventure.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate. Well, likewise, you do as well, Dave, and that's why this partnership is good.
You do know how to rip off maggots just like I do.
A great symbiosis. So, thanks for the time. We appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Good seeing you.
You got it. All right, folks. Thanks again for tuning in to the Dan Bongino Show. I will see you all tomorrow.
No, you won't. And by the way, you're going to have to scrub this fucker. Yeah. That's going to have to go. I think once you leave your station. That's got to suck. All right. Do I have time? Yeah, I got a couple more minutes. Can we just... It's so hard. Can we just go to the angriest man on television? If you want to see someone who's pissed and depressed and sort of rambling through life in a way that, is usually reserved for people who don't wear a suit to work. I'll get Chip in a minute, Cosmic Rose. I see you. I promise. Just, if there's a person... I was about to say, if there's a person more miserable on the internet, I don't know who they are. That isn't sort of like just in the, a goth Cure fan. But that is angry, miserable, and yet has monetized that misery. If you're seeking to do that in your life, look no further than Greg Kelly as the man to show you the way. I want do to show me the way. All right, so the name of this one is Greg Kelly reveals a new angle of famous dust up. And this is where, Biden wasn't afraid to talk person to person with these fucking dudes, the gun guys at this, I'm guessing, I haven't watched this, me, I don't pre-watch this. Greg, the alleged rapist, Mr. Webcast, understand that it's alleged, largely because his father was, chief of police and protected him? Yeah, no pants, Greg. Oh, is there going to be an ad?
If you're trying to lose belly fat, stop doing cardio. This sounds backwards, right? Well, believe it or not, it's actually true. Stop spending hours on the elliptical to get in shape.
The fake... by the way, he's talking to you, Greg Kelly. By the way, look at calling out fake news. This is about the fake news, including Fox. Look at that. Top over NBC. And CNN, MSNBC. They're the bottom rung of fake news. New York Times, obviously, is the top. Washington Post. And then Fox News tipping up there higher even than CBS. I don't know what the fuck CBS did wrong. CBS is kind of the boring angle. CBS and ABC. Like when I see their logos, I don't even think of news. I think of like Charlie Brown Christmas specials.
News basically took 2020 off when it came to vetting Joe Biden.
Do you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump and you ain't black?
The vetting of Joe Biden apparently this is when Joe Biden auditioned for Full Metal Jacket, I think it was. And by the way, at the top of the list, he's showing Jake Tapper because it's CNN. But if you'll remember, Morning Joe had Trump on yammering in his friggin' pajamas for a full year before the 2016 election, just to talk about whatever he wanted. Just kind of go on there and blather his birther nonsense. They just had him on all the time. By the way, Judeo-Christian values.
It's true. I mean, there's so much to look at with this guy. Things that happened last year during the campaign, decades ago, throughout his life, all the things.
I mean, what are you going to do, Greg? You got nothing while he's president. Imagine that. Imagine your case every day is that Joe Biden is fucking the country. It's falling apart. Everything he's doing is a commie Marxist plot to destroy the country from the inside. And the way you're going to show that is, remember Joe Biden when he used to talk, out of both sides of his mouth, or he was unfiltered at different times. Remember that guy? Yeah, that's still.
That's supposed to happen to a presidential candidate did not happen to Joe Biden. I want to get to something that's.
I'm sorry, Greg. Are you going to go into Trump's sexual assault allegations, all of them? So, or are you going to play the tape of the Access Hollywood thing? I mean, at some point we got to
action replays in magnified fortune.
Yeah, let's see.
Really good in a moment, but first, Joe voiced his frustration, told us tale of his woes with the fake news to a bunch of kids who, quite frankly, look like they had better things to do, and I'm sure they did. But anyway, here's Joe from a school visit today in New Jersey.
You know, when you're president, you see all these people here? They're with you all the time. They get to ask you all kinds of questions, and you try to figure out how you can avoid answering them sometimes.
So that was a joke directed at the press, and you're talking to little kids, and that was the kind of point. Yes, these kids. Did you see the interaction that he had? By the way, I'm sure Greg will play the really cute interaction with the kid talking about maybe when Joe Biden is older than 4, he'll be able to do what he wants. I'm sure he'll play that clip.
He's really holding that audience spellbound, huh? Those kids don't care about.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I don't think anybody is better around kids than Greg Kelly. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Would it be? Yeah, it'd be on Twitter, I think. Let's go to here. And I'll find Biden preschool visit. Here's a, I mean, let's see. This go like, and by the way, while Biden did talk about kids and he was like making a joke about the press and they're standing there and that kind of stuff, outside the preschool, Trump supporters, aka Greg Kelly viewers, were yelling "fuck Joe Biden" with children around. You know, 'cause Jesus. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I'll go to video. Oh, there's got to be. Hold on one second. Biden. Let's see. Let's just go school visit here. Let's see.
You guys are impressive. Really impressive. This is 9th grade, right? Oh, no.
There you go. Hold on. Is it like talking? Hold on. Let's talk to the kids. There's a little kid in here. Got to find where he is. This is Joe Biden coming out. This is the thing. There's Jill talking to the kids. There's other folks. That's the line that he was saying there. They go and there's Bill de Blasio talking to some of the kids. There was a little. Oh, this is the Legos line. This is probably where it's from.
Cool. Look at that. Look at that one. You guys are gonna build big buildings when you get old?
Oh, they're playing it slower.
I think so too.
Yeah, so they slowed it down. This one slowed down. That's part of it as well. Yeah, Trump made babies cry. There you go. Yeah, first name is. What are you doing? Just having little conversations with kids at the tables and that kind of stuff, and then he comes in here and
Mr. President,
there you go. This is they ask all these questions. Yada yada. There was one little kid that was really cute. I'm gonna see if I can find that clip. It's gonna be buried. Never mind. All right, so we'll see. He might end up playing it where the little kid asked for. I doubt it. He's gonna probably show the 4-year-old. Or the other kid that walks up to him. There's not much
star quality there. But how about that?
Yeah, Trump had true star quality. Let's see. Trump. Like, Trump always knew, when kids are around, especially if they're your own, that's how you act, you get, pictures like this kind of stuff. Yeah. This kind of, it's your daddy-daughter dance kind of normal picture. That's, and you get a bunch of them. You don't just get one. This one, touching the face. Touch your dad's face like this. He likes that. Can I get a wallet size of that one? And then I'm going to barf if I keep looking at these. This business. That weird, creepy shot. That one right there. This, like, a lot of these, like, even this one, that doesn't bother. This one right over here, where she's sitting on his lap and she kisses him on the cheek. Like, as a dad photo goes, not that weird. This is a little weird. But whatever. You're holding your kid. Okay. You know, that stuff. This is, I don't know what the fuck that is. This, it looks like an Epstein shot. Like, it's weird. And that they would post these. It's just, ugh. And this business, I don't know what's happening. There's a certain point where the child is too big to be sitting on your lap. But Greg Kelly, I'm sure he vetted all those photos. I'm sure he went through each one of them, told them what worked and what didn't.
Doesn't want to answer questions, figures out ways to not answer. This is not what they say.
Yeah, he's joking. He's joking with the press because the kids are too young to even understand any of this. They're like 4.
This is going to be a very transparent administration. Who remembers this?
We're good? We're good.
When the president asked me to serve in this role, we talked about the importance of bringing truth and transparency back to the briefing room, rebuilding trust.
The circus, Showtime. So they're borrowing clips. This is all publicly available footage, Greg. You could cut your own shit together. You do know that, right?
Trust will be central to our focus every single day.
Truth, transparency.
Fuck. And then he makes a joke about the press in front of kids. Who the fuck cares?
See, rebuilding trust. They just like saying these words because they feel good. They sound good.
Well, you know, they're not the best sounding words. They really aren't. I mean, they're better sounding words.
They're
like
de-engineering.
That's a good word. That sounds good.
Action replays in magnified fortune.
Yeah, I mean, that's their good feeling words. Sometimes the way you say a word feels good.
Executives. So this Burmisia, they say, pronounce it Burmisia.
Now, traditionally, the word illegal isn't that fun a word. It's a little cute, you know. It's a roll of the tongue, but you know, there's ways to take normal words like illegal and make them fun.
Legal, yeah, look.
You know what I mean?
Legal,
like
yeah, look.
It's like a little dance.
Legal, yeah, look.
See what I mean? Yeah.
But how do they really feel? Joe opened up again. Can I see one more time? Joe with the kids. This is Joe being Joe. This is the real guy.
This is the real guy. He's not slapping the children. He's just making a kind of like grandpa joke in front of the press and everybody else laughs. By the way, so this is a joke for the teachers and the fact that adults often when they're around children, you know, have to curtail what they're saying as well. And the little kids are like, couldn't be less interested is kind of the gag here. But since Greg Kelly is a humorless fuck, he's having a very hard time.
You know, when you're president, you see all these people here? They're with you all the time. They get to ask you all kinds of questions. And you try to figure out how you can avoid answering them sometimes.
See, the laugh was to the people, the adults. See, I'm talking to this kid, but I'm really talking to you. That's a common comedic trope in social circumstances. Now, again, Greg Kelly has no friends, and he lives a husk of a life. So we can't expect him to understand these kind of social interactions. But maybe one day he'll go hiking in
when they gaze upon Yosemite.
There's some place. It's like a canyon or something.
Not funny. But this is. So last year, Joe got into an argument with an auto worker by the name of Jerry Wayne. This should have been a much bigger deal. Partly it wasn't because the angle of the conversation wasn't that great.
By the way, this was the AR-14 kind of thing, which is like a meaningless if you don't give a fuck. It's like the fight with homosexuals when you start talking to them and they're going, it's not a clip, it's a magazine. You're like, fuck off. Nobody cares. The point is you want a weapon, an anti-personnel weapon for self-defense is bullshit. Those weapons are for killing multiple people downrange when that you have no affinity for. So your neighbors, your, police, cops, shit like that, they're meant for war zones where everyone's a hostile. You don't need those for self-defense unless you, quite frankly, are defending yourself against the authorities because you are engaged in having a meth lab in your trailer.
Great. But we found a new angle so you can see the argument.
I'm going to guess it's the same angle.
From in full, and you can see both guys going at it. It's very interesting. It shows you a lot about who.
Yeah, he has a frank conversation with another human being. He's not a president at that point even.
Who Joe Biden is, okay? Let's take it from the top, please.
To diminish our Second Amendment right.
Okay, and remember this. You are actively trying to take our Second Amendment right and take it away.
Take away our gun.
You're full of
You're full of S8.
Yes, you're full of shit. He's full of shit. He's not trying to take away your guns and eliminate your Second Amendment. That's bullshit. The problem is, it's Greg Kelly's bullshit.
He hears something he doesn't like, and he hits him with that. This is Joe.
It's not what he doesn't like. It's not true. The guy is selling an idea, and he's full of shit. And by the way, as a union guy and on the floor of a shop, that's how people talk. Would you have preferred going, I'm not talking to that man at all, and what you're saying is malarkey?
Politician that we are all going to get along, civility and decency. You are full of pretty wild, huh? Next.
All right, thank you.
Now, shush.
Yeah, they were, and by the way, they were trying to get him out of there, and he's like, no, I'm going to have this conversation. Don't shut it down. It's okay. Right.
That was interesting. His aide is trying to do the right thing. Diffuse.
No, the right thing is not what's happening there. He's like, no, we can have this conversation. Frankly, and together, and this guy's making something up, and there's people filming it, and we're surrounded by people. I'm not gonna run from this fucking conversation. The dude is lying about my position in a group of people. This is not random. This is absolutely a walk-up hit from somebody who's selling a point of view, and that point of view is bullshit. So I'll talk about it. Yes, this is locker room talk. Meanwhile, yeah, that's an excellent point. Hold on one second. I'm going to see if I can find, there's another angle on this. Let me see if I can find let's see if I can find it on here. Hold on. Let's see if I can find, yeah, this is something. I'm sure Greg Kelly will have an issue with this. The language on that, because it's not bleeped out. Let's see.
I moved on her, actually.
No.
She was down in Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and her. She was married.
It's huge news, Sarah.
No, Nancy. Yeah. No, this was marriages. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping.
I took her out furniture
She
shopping.
wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there. And she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
She's your girl's hot as shit. In the purple.
Whoa!
Yes.
Whoa!
So they're looking out the They're looking out the window at the host. He's your girl's hot as shit. Your girl. The fuck.
Yes, the Donald has scored. Oh my man! Wait, you gotta look at me when you get out. You're like,
Set this up.
That is very.
you give me the thumbs
Look
up.
at you. You are a
You gotta put the thumbs up. You gotta get the thumbs up. Can't be too happy.
else off first? Yeah, let me.
It's very
You
funny.
gotta give the thumbs up.
You and I will walk down.
Oh my god.
Maybe it's a different one.
Better not be the publicist. No, it's her.
Yeah, that's her, with the gold. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her.
Mm-hmm. Locker room banner, a private conversation that took place many years ago. Bill Clinton said, far worse to me on the golf course, not even close. Produce the tape, fucko.
Yeah, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
Mm-hmm. Now, granted.
Look at those legs. All I can see is the legs.
No, it looks good.
Come on, shorty.
Oh, nice legs, huh?
Oof, get out of the way, honey. Oh, that's good legs. Go ahead.
It's always good if you don't fall out of the bus. Like Ford, Gerald Ford, remember?
There's a little bit down below. Pull the hell.
Hello, how are you? Hi.
Mr. Trump, how
nice
are
seeing
you?
you. Terrific.
Pleasure to meet you.
Terrific. You know Billy Bush?
How are you?
Nice to see you. How you doing, Ariane?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Are you ready to be a soap star?
We're ready. Let's go. Make me a soap star.
How about a little hug for the Donald? He just got off the
Would
bus.
you like a little hug,
Okay,
darling?
absolutely. Melania said this was okay.
So just to clarify, this is Greg Kelly's hero. I don't mean he just prefers him and he doesn't like what Democrats are doing. He politically has a difference. Greg Kelly could not. There is no version of reality where he would not be happy giving Trump a rusty trombone every day as a wake up.
It was a tense situation. He shushes her, and you can see she is hurt and embarrassed.
Aw, hold on. A palate cleanser. Palate cleanser. Hi, buddy. Hi. Hi, Stinkums. Hi. Aw. What's going on, buddy? Hi. Are you doing something? Are you okay? You okay? Hi. Chip, see? Well, I told you you'd be coming in to say hi. I told you. Chip. Chip. I have a chip on my shoulder. Hold on. There you go. Hi, buddy. I know. I know. You want down? You want? Huh? He's busy. He's busy? Yeah. Was he on his way to poo? No. Or is he just fighting everything? I see. Okay. Love you. I needed that after it was like it's like an emotional shower after the clip we just watched.
She did absolutely nothing wrong. Next up in the convo.
I support the Second Amendment. Second Amendment, just like right now, if you yell fire, that's not free speech. And from the very beginning, I have a shotgun, I have a 20 gauge, a 12 gauge, my son's hunt. Guess what? You're not allowed to own any weapon. I'm not taking your gun away at all. You need 100 rounds.
So when you were in Beto, when you said you're going to take our guns,
I did not say that. That's not true. I did not say that.
And by the way, he didn't say that. Beto O'Rourke said, yeah, take the guns away. And he was like, no, that's not how it's going to work.
It's a viral video like the other ones they're putting out there. They're simply a lie.
Again, Jerry is right. The former vice president is wrong. There is a viral video. There are actually two.
All right, let's play it.
And this is what the young man is talking about. First, let's go to Beto O'Rourke, the temporary hit sensation of the Democrat Party. When he was running against Ted Cruz, he was really feeling it. And he said this.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against...
Well, an AK-47 is still technically illegal. Yeah, like the AR-15 is different. It's
fellow Americans anymore.
Viral.
We're not going to allow you to use them. By the way, we're not going to allow you to use them against your fellow Americans anymore. Presuming that the person that they are talking about has previously used an AR or an AK-47 against their fellow Americans.
Video. He loses the election, but is still kind of hanging around the Democrat Party. His endorsement was said to be worth something. He gave it to Joe Biden. And on the big night of the endorsement, how did Joe return the favor?
I want to make something clear. I'm going to guarantee you this is not last year's scene of this guy. You're going to take care of the gun problem with me. You're going to be the one that leads this effort. I'm counting on you.
That would
right. That's not the gun problem. Not guns in general, not the ability to have guns, but weapons of war. The assault weapons ban, which Joe Biden previously was one of the people who got actually through and lowered the death rate in the country. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Obviously, there's not going to be a big shotgun gathering thing. I mean, honestly, let's see. There is. Let me show you. Let's see. I got to find here. Hold on. Let's see. I showed this once before. This is this is a video that let's see if I can stop this. Hold on 1 second. This is something that see if I can get this in. Cooking bacon. This thing, whatever. Okay. This is something that currently exists and is illegal except to collectors and the like, but there's people who are making knockoff versions of it. And it's something that Sean Hannity and Greg Kelly have said does not exist. They said it's not even that it's not a threat or it's not a problem or the people who want it, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Only certain people like none of that. They just say it flat out doesn't exist. What you're about to see, according to Sean Hannity, is not physically possible, does not exist. That, my friends, is a Glock modified for full auto with a 100-round magazine attachment. Now, if you need this for self-defense, you are killing cops. You are defending yourself against soldiers. Not a burglar, not somebody sneaking through your fucking window. No, it's not a 3D printed gun. It's a Glock that's modified. Yeah. It's this little,
There's something in there.
By the way, that a piece, it moves so fast that he got injured by by a shell, I think.
Cut it out? How do I get this in focus?
Experience like
this ring. Rolling.
Can we finish? No, I'd get it.
No, get that out fast. Let's just get that out. I got you. Going all the way up.
Yeah, sure.
They literally do like field surgery on this dickhead. That's the concern. That would be the gun problem. Gun ownership is not the problem.
Well, so that's what Jerry Wayne was.
No guns should be banned. Only individuals should be banned. No. Some guns should be banned. Of course, you can't have anti-tank weapons. It's fucking insanity. If you want to have a collector's license, you want a well-regulated militia, for example, then all weapons of war should be well-regulated. You can have them. You just got to pass a fucking competency test, take a safety course, and tell us where you keep it. So that if it gets lost and somebody uses it in a heat-style bank robbery, we know who to knock on the door of.
Talking about, he's right, Joe Biden.
By the way, how does registering your gun interfere with your right to own it, to keep it and bear it? What do you think the government doesn't know you're stockpiling weapons? You know those guys that are like, well, they busted this guy and they found a huge stockpile of weapons. You think they didn't know? You don't think they got a search warrant after following him and looked on his fucking Amazon wish list and the websites that he was visiting and which websites like packages were showing up? Because you don't need a warrant to sit across the street and look at packages arriving on somebody's doorstep. If you can see where they came from, you get it.
Is wrong. He got very, very angry. Did you see that? Let's go back to that conversation, please.
That you're taking the gun.
Well, he just clarified it. Wait. Take the AR-14s.
Okay, this is not okay. Hold on. All right. Hey, let's there's a lot of guys.
You hear that? First of all, he invades the guy's space. Jerry Wayne is showing more class. Look, this is not okay. You can't do that in a conversation.
He invades the guy's space. The dude walked up to him and got in his face about it. This is why, by the way, he's been like worrying about his Irish temper, and when he talks with Jill and he's been in this thing, he's like, yeah, I gotta watch that. I gotta watch what I'm saying because I'm president now.
And he threatens to beat the guy up. Let's go outside. He said Trump was off the wall. Trump never did anything like this. More?
Yeah, but that's because Trump's a complete wuss and will get his ass handed to him anywhere, anytime. I mean, literally anyone could kick Trump's ass. Anyone. Bruce Valanche could fuck Trump up. There, I said it.
Me, man. I'm not worried. Hold on.
So much.
Give me a break, man. Don't be such a worried guy. Up on me. Hey, there's a lot of. Hey. Look, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Are you able to own a machine gun? I said, are you able to own one? Machine guns are illegal. That's right. So AR-15's illegal. How is that a machine gun? No, it's not. Semi-automatic. Yeah, do you need 100 rounds? Do you need 100 rounds? In America, from handguns, there are what you call assault rifles. Why are you advocating for assault rifles when people are dying by handguns?
And in the end, Joe just walks off because he.
Yeah, because he's like, dude, why do you need 100 rounds? And the guy doesn't answer it. He diverts to handguns, and you're like, okay, this dude's just a fucking activist waiting.
This is what he's talking about. That is Jerry Wayne, man in the hard hat with the beard, and everybody should follow him on Twitter.
Jerry Wayne, AR-14.
Jerry Wayne.
Jerry Wayne is a true patriot. So saith I, Greg Kelly.
AR-14, a true patriot.
He's got a Gadsden flag hat and some brand new overalls, and he's
right.
He's got his Duck Dynasty beard like that he's working on for a while.
There's a tight gubernatorial election in Virginia, New Jersey. Terry McAuliffe versus Youngkin, and
yeah, apparently they're trying to get people to text Terry to 50550 and donate.
Looks like this could go the Republicans' way, but so Obama came in to, I don't know, jazz up the situation.
Yeah, Terry used to work with him, so he's coming to support somebody.
Excite the base.
If you and Greg, if you actually had friends, this wouldn't be such a foreign experience to you.
I don't think it worked, but here's a little bit from him.
I don't think it worked. Really? Didn't sell you on Terry McAuliffe? Greg, that's shocking.
All across the country, Democrats are trying to make it easier to vote, not make it harder to vote, and push back on Republicans who are trying to systematically.
Obama, outrage over critical race theory is fake. Yes, Greg, he's calling you fake.
Prevent ordinary citizens from making their voices heard. Just this past week, some of you probably saw, every Democrat in the Senate supported a bill that would protect the right to vote and ban partisan gerrymandering and reduce the influence of dark money in our politics. Every Democrat voted for it. Every Republican voted against it.
This is the elitism, the lack of respect for people.
The elitism. Greg. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Support voting rights bill. See if I can get this in here. Where's the actual poll? Okay, hold on. Here you go. Elitism, just to run you through the elitism on this. Majority of voters in 7 states support elements of Democrats' voting legislation and passing legislation without a filibuster-proof majority, according to a series of new state-level surveys. The voting rights group Fair Fight commissioned surveys with public policy polling, which does polling for progressive groups in Alaska, Arizona, Maine, Montana, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. 54% to 64% of voters surveyed in each state support the idea of senators passing voting bills along a simple majority, not the 60 votes currently required by the Senate filibuster rules. Doesn't matter. That's how much they want the thing. Democrats have fought to advance blah, blah, blah. Surveys also found significant support for provisions included in the bills, too. At the end of the day, most Americans beyond a small faction support these bills that strengthen our democracy. All Americans support simple majority votes. They're split on whether Democrats should pass the bills without Republican support. Support for such a move fell in each of the 7 state surveys. In West Virginia, just 46% of voters believe Democrats should pass the bill without Republican support. I don't even know why you would even think. Like, the idea is that you would want them to pass with Republican support. So bulldozing, whatever. It's sort of, if you're talking about like that everybody's vote matters, and then you're talking about no support. It's kind of weird. Support for single-party advancement of voting legislation was highest in Arizona, where 60% said they backed the idea. In each of the state, at least 64% of voters surveyed support allowing the Department of Justice to review state laws before they go into effect to make sure that they do not discriminate against voters on race, for example. That's a majority. It's a comfortable majority. And what he just said about that is that the majority of Americans support that, for example, especially the partisan gerrymandering idea. And Greg Kelly calls that elitist, siding with 64% of the American people in a constitutional republic that functions as a democracy is elitist. Now, some of you might think that 100% of Republicans voting against 64% of Americans in lockstep in the Senate would be elitist. You have 50 of these folks. None of them are voting for something that the majority of their voters actually want. That would be the elites telling people what to do. In the case of Democrats, they're actually just siding with the majority of Americans.
Systematically push ordinary Americans from voting. This is more than insincerity. These are lies. These are absolute lies. And you can see there's a contempt. He's been out of the game for a long time. America has grown up, and we don't buy that.
Yeah, that's what it is. There's just so much contempt. You know what I mean? It's just he has contempt for the people. That's not projection, Greg. You miserable bastard. Can you imagine sitting behind this asshole's desk every night and trying to gin up this much anger in yourself? How do you not give yourself cancer? Seriously. I mean, drive straight to a hospital after this broadcast, Greg. It's just unhealthy as shit.
Crap anymore. Next.
Here we are trying to recover from a global pandemic that has killed more than 700,000 Americans, that shut down thousands of small businesses and put millions out of work. We don't have time to be wasting on these phony, trumped-up culture wars, this fake outrage.
Ooh, he's calling you out, Greg. That's rough. He said fake outrage. Do you see that, Greg? I mean, I know you're genuinely outraged. Largely, when you see life unfolding in front of you, people smiling, getting on with their lives, and shit working, and government functioning in the United States, actually making some headway to like build infrastructure, for example. That's gotta hurt. I get it. But then having to, you feel it at home and you're all mad, and then you got to go into the studio and put on a suit and bitch into a camera. It's rough, man. It must be.
The right-wing media's pedals to juice their ratings. And the fact that
Oh, Greg, he's calling you out again. Gee, I wonder why Greg Kelly picked this clip as something to gripe about, besides the skin color of the person saying
he's willing to go along with it instead of talking about serious problems that actually affect serious people. That's a shame. That's not what this election's about.
Yeah, Greg, he's talking to you, man. You're an inserious asshole wasting everyone's fucking time.
I guess I'm part of the right-wing media.
Well, you're part of the right wing. I wouldn't call Newsmax media quite yet. Don't get out over your skis. I'm not calling my show a network program. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta sniff yourself, dude. You gotta know where you are. Now, I obviously have an equal access to the public that Greg Kelly does in his clips. And arguably, I have more people in my chat, for example, right now than he has rumbles on this stupid fucking video. Now, because there's 9,000 views of it overall, fairly pitiful, but only 465 people thought it was worth upvoting and gave a shit about it. Now, granted, I have more, what's our likes right now? Let's see, let me look. It's our current thumbs up feature. And this is just one site, mind you. Go to my, check the YouTube. See what we got here in terms of, let's see, we got 710 current viewers right now. 4,000 playbacks happening concurrently. 689 current viewers in the other segment. There we go. We got 533. Yeah, see, Greg, I got more current likes, thumbs up, then you got rumbles on this video, and I know they'll keep going up because people love the show. And this will end up being a clip too, and people will share this clip and tweet it to you so that you can hear my dulcet tones telling you what a sad and bitter fuck up you are. And how no matter how hard you try, you'll never be one of the elites you decry, even though that's what you want so desperately. I'm sure someone will share this clip of you later. Hi man. I hope you feel seen. So, in terms of, being part of the right-wing media, don't inflate yourself too much. I wouldn't call myself part of the left-wing media. I just got my little show here, man. We just have a gathering of thousands across multiple platforms and lots even more viewers than that's just the people that are in the chat talking at any given time. And, people subscribe on Twitch, don't they? Don't you? Don't you guys subscribe on Twitch? Doesn't everybody there that can, even if you're on the other sites, don't you go over to twitch.tv and .houseparks or /houseparks? Don't dot me, slash me. That's how it works. And subscribe if you have Amazon Prime. You do that. Doesn't cost you a dime. Even if you do that, even if you go over and you subscribe and become a member on YouTube, which you can do and support the show, or become a Patreon, or Venmo me, any of these options, Facebook stars, you can do all those things. And I would never consider myself, quote unquote, left-wing media or left of center media or whatever derogatory term people will throw my way. I'm just a guy sitting in front of a microphone, making people laugh about the truth. And your fucking stupid face. That's it. I mean, yes. All right, we'll move on. Point made. What were you saying, stupid?
Are very important issues. See, Barack Obama...
Yeah, are they? They're very important issues? Are these culture war things very important issues? Which ones are
in the
important?
end, didn't really do much for African Americans. He didn't. Their situation...
Well, the 24 million people who got insurance, a big portion of those were minorities, specifically because it was the hardest to get health insurance and keep it longer. And of course, during the time that he was lowering the unemployment rate and helping the country recover from the worst downturn since the Great Depression, which everybody says is the slowest recovery since the Great Depression, but also the greatest recession since the Great Depression. So of course the recovery, but he was there, and we ended up creating lots of jobs, and he ended up, creating the ACA and doing all kinds of wonderful stuff. And during his time, see the gap between the black unemployment rate and the white unemployment rate, while they were both parallel going down, narrowed. And during Trump, they all just kind of went down on the same slide that they were coming in before. So they were narrowing, and then they evened out. So yes, black unemployment would go down, and yes, white employment was going down at the same time, and they never got. You see what you would want to do is you want to bring those numbers closer together. You don't want to necessarily bring the white one up. That doesn't make any sense. But you want to bring the black one down to match or meet or get as close as possible. Humanity is a thing. You can't. Nobody's perfect. But you want to narrow those two things. You can't get credit for just paralleling them down and say I made it lower, and then because you didn't actually see how that works. It doesn't. You actually did fuck all. All you did was ride on the other guy's shit that was happening as you came into office. See. If you have programs while you're in office and they benefit everyone, you would see that gap narrow. It never narrowed. It was always parallel, which meant you didn't quite give a shit at all. It was just kind of watching the economic trend after a recession as people started getting jobs back. And then, of course, during the pandemic, 1 in 1,000 black people died from COVID. And then that number got all the way to 1 in 500. In the country. And black people and people of color in general were hit hardest by the pandemic, which was mismanaged by the asshole that you support, that and I was pointing at him, not at Obama's shoulder, that Greg Kelly supports, who grabs women by the pussy and brags about it. Because he's a pig, and Greg Kelly's a pig, and, yeah.
Actually declined. It improved dramatically under President Trump. So...
No, it declined. but it declined in parallel with everyone else. It did not improve dramatically. It improved dramatically, it would have narrowed the gap. He never narrowed the gap. Go fuck yourself, you little toadstool.
Having failed when he had power, what's the next step for Democrats to pull? Well, the whole system is racist. Critical race theory. This isn't some side, foolish culture war issue. This is...
Yes, it is. And yes, you are.
Our culture. This is our country, our way of life.
It is? Dear Lord, I had no idea that every time I order food or go out or see a show or go to a concert or whatever, that critical race theory was now a part of everything I do, even though it's not. And what he thinks is critical race theory in most situations is simple diversity training. It's at businesses so that people don't get sued for being assholes, or the company doesn't lose money because somebody gets fired for being a prick and mistreating people while everybody's trying to be on the same, job train. We're all working together on a project, and yet Greg Kelly is working here and decides to shit on the women or the gay people in the office or people of color distinctly in a racist way. And he's like, what? I didn't know that was a problem. And you're like, oh, shit. All right, well, diversity training for everybody. Because apparently we can't just pretend that Greg is the fucking problem. We have to everybody has to get in a room and have a lecture about how not to be a sexist prick. Not because we're all sexist pricks. A lot of us guys sit there and go, yeah, we know this is, I have relationships with women. I have a mom and a sister. I interact with female humans all the time, and I'm not a prick about it. I get it. But we all have to sit here and pretend we don't know because we can't just single out Greg for a lecture. We've got to all fucking sit there. That's what this is. What they think is what regular HR bullshit that has to be done. We all have to sit through this bullshit because of people like Trump and people like Greg Kelly wasting everybody's fucking time because we all have to pretend that, oh yes, everybody's an asshole. It's the weird, if you want to talk about like reverse racism, that's effectively what the reverse racism is, that this asshole gets to drag everybody else into his racist bullshit. That Greg Kelly gets to go, well, we're all feeling it. I'm just saying what we're all thinking. And then we have to have a fucking meeting because now the general idea is that we're all thinking what he's thinking when we're fucking not. Except for the rest of us are thinking Greg Kelly is a piece of shit. Why are we working here?
This is significant. You can brush it off, but the people are onto you, and they are a lot smarter than you think, Mr. Former President. One more from him.
Oh, sorry. That's Mr. Former two-term president and currently most popular president in America. Like he and Jimmy Carter are jockeying for position right now because, I mean, Carter's the goods, man. He's a good old dude. Sweetheart.
We ain't got time to be tired.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have time to be tired. What is required is sustained effort.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say? We don't have time
to be tired. What's time is for what's required is sustained effort. And I think it was in direct relation to somebody going, we're tired, or they yelled it or whatever. And he's like, or we're tired of this, we're tired of something, referencing the fact that a lot in the activist class are like, we're tired of that, and these Democrats, like that talking point bullshit that everybody's like, yeah, you know, if you're not good for more than one election in a row, you can't fucking tell anybody what to do. I'm sorry. If you can't hang and build the party over time and deal with the process of building it, the fuck am I listening to you for? And the activist class on both sides are the worst about that shit. I just get to enjoy it when the Republicans do it. But he said, we don't have time to be tired. We got to keep working at it. It takes sustained effort. If you care, if you give a shit, if it's about the actual issues you're talking about and not just about you. Because that's what happens when people are like, I'm tired. We're tired of doing this. We keep trying and I keep and we keep and I keep and all that bullshit. That's not about the issue. That's not about the people affected. That's not about democracy. That's about you. That's about, look how exhausted I am by my own caring.
Time to be tired. I think he pulled the Southern accent thing that he sometimes does with certain audiences. He changes who he is.
This is, by the way, this is the Hillary Clinton thing as well.
Is depending upon who he's talking to. You know who never does that? Trump.
Yes, you're right. He's equally fucking dumb. Everybody he talks to.
Yeah, look. Action replays in magnified fortune.
Yeah, that's he's nothing if not consistently fucking stupid.
First Lady's doing great, and I would say fully recovered or just about fully recovered. But we are fully recovered, and I am.
I don't read, obviously. When they gaze upon Yosemites,
they just explode. They just explode.
Some people agree, and many people don't agree, but I think most people very much agree. The sand was loaded up with blood.
Yeah.
They're de-engineering. People want other people to stop shooting and knifing people to death. For Iowa values.
By the way, in case you're wondering what that last one was, that's Iowa values.
For Iowa values.
Hal Greggy just tweeted a picture of 5 eggs. Greg Kelly? That would be amazing. Or did you guys, somebody in our chat room, by the way, I do think as much as he's, fucking ridiculous, he does, I think we can give, Greg doesn't go full screen at any point in this. Like, nobody wants to see Greg Kelly on screen by himself, does he? Look, it's the most he can ever do. So I think we can do that. I think we can go with 5 eggs for him today. I think he should earn it at least once, right? 5 eggs in a month.
Eat 2 eggs a day. 5 eggs.
Because he's hung-go about these things. Yeah, he's got. This is a kind of guy.
The stroker.
Yeah, and this is the kind of people that Trump.
I had to beat off.
Yeah, he had to beat off.
Kavanaugh.
Who was that? That's right. That's who he had to beat off. I always forget who he had to beat off.
I had to beat off.
Who?
Brett Kavanaugh.
Brat Kavanaugh. That's right. You had to beat off Brat Kavanaugh. I always thought it was Tucker Carlson.
I like Wood.
But I can't remember. I don't know why I keep thinking
deeper and longer.
It's just such a weird thing. I know. I'm just amazed at myself. Most of us are.
I had to beat off.
Not that's who he had to. Not obviously. Lauren Boebert. That was somebody else. So sorry. But the nice thing is that people grow.
I didn't become different. I got impeached twice.
Oh, well, not all the time. Just for the record, whatever. But so, Greg Kelly, enjoy your misery, and we will be here on the regular to remind people that Greg Kelly is now and continues to be the most miserable man on the internet, and we will never, ever stop taking joy in his absolute bitter. Dude is bitter as an aspirin sandwich. Never has anyone allowed themselves to be filmed and believed that they are below the rung on the social ladder they believe to be on. Like, this dude thinks he deserves to be on top of the fucking heap. That it is his birthright. That he absolutely deserves to be up in Trump land. And he will suck up to Trump nut by nut, taint after taint to get there. And still, no matter how close he gets to the ass ring that he reaches for, he's always reaching for that ass ring. No matter how close he gets to it, he will always feel below it and feel like he deserves to be above it. And that's what that's the grinding misery you see in this man's eyes all the time. It is so abundantly glad. I mean, I am amazed by this fucker. I like every time we watch a video, I am stunned by how miserable he is. Can we pick on him every time? We'll bring someone. He stopped posting shit for a while. But I mean, aren't you guys? Like, there's some people you're like, I can relate. There's a version on my side of the world where you feel that makes sense to me. These people are angry about this. My people are angry about this. There seems to be some crisscross. Everybody's angry about this issue. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Greg Kelly. This is literally just the whingiest, lamest, most bitter. He must be furious at the futility of his life. Right? Because we've watched a bunch of these clips. I'm still amazed. I am fucking amazed. Yeah, he's got a Kool-Aid IV going. He's got a Kool-Aid enema. There's a hose in his butt right now that comes straight from Don Jr.'s nasal passages. Damn. Seriously, this is like, you know, like Tucker Carlson. We do Tucker Carlson sometimes, and he's in kind of this category. He's in the confusion category. Tucker's always, what? No. Like, that's what he's always trying to, like, what? I'm really finding out something. Is this true? I'm so curious. That's what his stupid fucking Tucker face is meant to make you think as a viewer. It doesn't work on you know, it's like like Jedi mind tricks. It works well on weak minds. But anyways, Greg, like, I can kind of get, like, Tucker Carlson, you're like, all right, he's a white supremacist and bitches about people and talks shit when he's not on camera in a way that he has to, like, he knows he has to tart it up on camera because he's got a lucrative Fox gig, right? And you can kind of see it coming. Like, he's Alex Jonesing himself because he's basically about to get kicked off Fox for something. And so he's planning his exit strategy into Alex Jones territory. For personal relevance, not for money. He's a rich fuck. But Greg Kelly, this is it. You are seeing a human glass ceiling. This is the top for Greg Kelly. All of you watching this show, even the maggots that watch the show, to some degree have a genuine hope and possibility that your life will be bigger and better someday. You might win the lottery or something that's going to pop you up past a point in your life where you're like, oh shit, now I got the view above the clouds. It's possible for me. And, you know, and if you're a decent person, you drag some of your friends up behind you. Not Greg Kelly. No matter what happens to Greg Kelly could win the fucking lottery tomorrow, win $500 million. He's still going to be a miserable, bitter fuck. Nobody cares. He's topping out at Newsmax. This is it. Guaranteed. And it's amazing to watch. Like, it is shocking. Have I seen Tucker's Purge video? I have. And we're going to do that. When he does that special, I'll do the whole thing. Like I've done the Mike Lindell things, because I think it's on the same level of seriousness. I will be doing Tucker Carlson's, Patriot Purge thing live on this show. We'll go through the whole thing just like I go through the Absolute Proof and all that shit. We'll watch the whole thing together and we'll laugh our asses off and we will undercut it and we will refuse to take it seriously because these are unserious people. But Greg, I want to thank you for being the most miserable man on the internet and bringing us so much joy by being so joyless. It's really a miracle. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys for the night. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the morning show, and then I will be hopping right in my car and racing back to LA for my shows, and I will be doing I'll do a quick live. Tomorrow's show will probably be slightly shorter, and then I'm going to do the radio show from LA as well. So wish me luck with the tech. I worked on it and I got it where I think it's up and running and it should be fine. So I should be able to do a version of the show pretty smoothly, but I'm not trusting it. I'm going to get in there probably an hour and a half before and be ready to roll. But tomorrow's a big work day for me. I got a morning show, afternoon show, and 2 stand-up shows tomorrow night because I'm not one of the elites. I work for a fucking living. And my job is joy. Just bringing happiness. It's what I do. And relieving anxiety and giving perspective. My method is comedy. My purpose is understanding. And that said, on my way out the door, a moment about comedy, if I may. There has been much to do about Dave Chappelle and others and the jokes they make and whether it's okay to make jokes about things. And here's the final word on that. Anything you can't joke about or have joked about yourself, you give power to. You codify and strengthen anything you can't joke about topic-wise. And therefore, you risk overpowering your personal worth in the world. Also, comedy shows, comedy venues specifically, are unique environments. They are consensual acts by the audience and the performer. Now, if you go into a comedy show and judge what is funny based on topic or point of conversation, and not on the quality of the jokes and whether or not they actually function as jokes, it is the same as going in to a swingers club with a moral judgment that the consensual sex that is going on at this swingers club is not consensual and having everyone arrested. That's the same thing. It is the same thing as looking at a mosh pit at a metal show and thinking it's a real fight. It looks like a real fight to you because you don't know what a mosh pit is for. And every subject, the step before violence or the step before permanent division, the thing that stops the violence and the permanent division, where people can't see eye to eye, is joking about where people don't see eye to eye and joking about the misunderstandings. If you cannot do that, you bypass that step and you go straight to the violence or the permanent separation. And I'm not telling you this is my moral view. I'm not telling you this is my philosophical take on it. I'm telling you this is how human beings work. And the only time there is a topic that a comedian can't joke about is if they are not talented enough to make those jokes. If a subject is really fucking heavy, you cannot hold it up on toothpicks. And that's where most people fail. Most comedians that joke about really heavy topics simply are not talented enough, like yours truly, to make those jokes, and those jokes will, with those jokes having the structural integrity to match the actual subject. If it's a light subject, light jokes. What is the deal with McDonald's? That's not hard. It's a featherweight joke topic and a featherweight joke. But the heavier the topic, the stronger the jokes have to be. They have to be fucking miracles. And you can't bypass that. It's not the subject that's the problem most of the time. And most of the people who bitch about saying they won't let you joke about anything where it's PC culture, blah, blah, blah. It's not PC culture. Your jokes aren't strong enough. They're not that funny. The subject is that big. Your jokes have to be that funny. And if they're and the heavier the thing is, if they're this short of being strong enough, they collapse as if they were toothpicks. That's the responsibility. There is no fucking edge. And everybody knows that in my stand-up, I have literally joked about every subject that people talk about people getting canceled for. I have talked about those topics. I've joked about those subjects. And I've never had any of my jokes come back to bite me in the ass. And the videos are everywhere. There's tons of it online. Because my jokes are funny enough to support the topic. And my philosophy and my idea matches the content of the joke. I'm not joking just because it's a joke that exists. And like, I wrote it. I don't believe it, but it's funny, I think, because people are stupid and they'll laugh at it. I'm not living a lie through my comedy just for the sake of a joke that will work in abstract from me. This is my point of view. That's what comedy is to me. It's real. And to me, my sense of humor is more valuable to my personal identity than my sexuality or my gender. It is on the hierarchical scale of me giving value to the world. Me being funny is more important to my value in the world than whether or not I'm male or whether or not I'm straight. Does that make sense? It is more, funny is more important to me than that. So anybody who tries to take funny away from anybody because they don't like being the butt of the joke in any particular sense, or they give more power to that joke topic than it deserves because they feel like it's an attack on them, not recognizing that that pushing back on those things, saying people aren't able to joke about you in whatever form they do, or their own misunderstanding, which is in the case of Dave Chappelle's joke, what his jokes are, and we've done this class before, but Dave Chappelle's jokes are not about transgender people. Dave Chappelle's jokes in that special, because he talks about his friend Daphne at the end of it, Dave Chappelle's jokes are not about transgenderism or the transgender community. All of his jokes are about his understanding or lack thereof of the transgender community. That's what the actual jokes are about. The topic is transgender people. The jokes are about his lack of understanding or his inability to understand these things and how they don't fit with his worldview, and he's trying to figure it out. That's what jokes are for. Jokes are a way of telling, and by the way, the reason he's telling them is because the audience that watches his shows are in the same cul-de-sac. They're stuck in this I don't get it area. And there are a lot of people who believe that the way you get people out of emotional and moral and ethical and cul-de-sacs of lack of understanding is to yell at them to get out of there. And it doesn't work. As a matter of fact, people would rather be right than happy most of the time. So if you tell them, fuck you, you're in a cul-de-sac, they'll say, I'm staying in the cul-de-sac. No, he definitely said he was a TERF. This is an apologetic for a bigot. No, he's making the point that he didn't realize there was a term for what he thinks he is because he does, from his perspective, that's where it comes from. I'm telling you, the jokes are about misunderstanding. And if you don't think they are, what you're saying is that the transgender community is either on shakier ground in their existence than he does. This is just real. And again, I'm not telling you morally or ethically my POV on stand-up. You know what mine is. You can tell through my jokes. I'm telling you how crowds and human beings, large swaths of them, understand or don't understand ideas. And there are ways of changing ideas in people's heads. And force is the worst one. Comedy and allowing for comedy and expression and people finding their way through, joking about the circumstance you find yourself or your misunderstanding is the step before that. And you must understand, support, and recognize the reality of that. Just telling you. And you don't have to. You can think it's wrong, but it exists. Not understanding the importance of telling jokes about where people are on their growth curve. Because even at the end of that special, he says, Daphne says to him, I don't need you. He goes, I don't understand you as a transgender. I don't understand it. Which is true. He's just being truthful. He doesn't understand it. He can't. Arguably couldn't. Why would we need diversity if everybody magically understands everybody else, right? I know what they're going to say. I know what they believe. It's ridiculous. But he goes, I don't understand it. She goes, I don't need you to understand it. I just need you to know I'm a human being having an experience. And he says, I just need you to know the exact same thing. What he's saying is he's evolving. He doesn't know. And you can tell him fucking grow up and learn and be woke and figure your shit out. That's not going to make him do it. And matter of fact, most people, it entrenches that belief. So when someone doesn't understand you, when someone doesn't get you, especially when it's new and you're still figuring yourself out, it is always valuable to express the charity you would want from others in yourself. And a lot of people, certain people can't. So the ally community and other folks, I think, have a responsibility to do it. Like, look, you may not get it, but this is how I came to an understanding about it. I'm at ease with it. Doesn't bother me at all. I don't lose any sleep. I don't concern myself about it. And I'm decent with every person I interact with. Not that hard. You're under the false assumption, for example, that you're supposed to understand it. And as a comedian, by the way, comedians, we are in the understanding business. We say the shit people only think about, or we describe stuff from an obtuse angle because most people fight their challenges in life head on. And comedians look at it askew and give you a different perspective, is the mechanical aspect of it. And so we're in the understanding business. Most people either give up on understanding, like it's just is what it is. How many times have you heard that? Or they insist that it's the way they think it is, or they just buy into what the other person says and they don't care otherwise. But comedians will also go, why do we think this way? Why? Why are we looking this way? Is this the only way to look at this? Is everybody making the same mistake? Is the herd moving in a direction that's good for them, or is the herd moving in directions bad for them? Do I know? Where's my place in this? That's the business. And there are lots of people who don't understand. When they looked at Caitlyn Jenner and all that kind of stuff, they just fucking can't get it. And if you tell them, you don't, like, your opinion doesn't matter, and whether or not you get it, fuck you. That's how you create entrenched enemies between it, because they'll never find the bridge, because there's no reason to. Why would you make a bridge with someone who destroys your vision of the world when they're just trying to figure out who you are? So that's why comedy has always been important. It's why comedians exist. It's why humans evolved with comedy. It's why we do it. It serves a mechanical purpose in high order societies. Now, if somebody's rude or not funny in their comedy, and it's genuinely not funny, and the crowd knows it, you're not like, I find that offensive on me, but the rest of the crowd is laughing, you're in a different box. That's a point you have to take and recognize, okay, why do they think this is funny? Oh, it's based on this. How do I communicate with this person? What they're doing is leading, like, you get in an Andrew Dice Clay zone of misogyny, that example, right? It's a recognition of the kind of offensive waste of it, and where the comedian might not be aware that he's just reinforcing a bad idea. And he goes, there another way you can make these jokes and the kind of generalized thing without weaponizing assholes all over the place. And a lot of those people have short shelf lives on their careers for that very reason. Because what started out as a kind of cathartic, well, we'll tell them, ends as, this guy's a fucking pig. And he's cranking out, his audiences are full of assholes who aren't laughing anymore. That's just clapter. They're just applauding everything he says instead of laughing. So, and comedy is about the evolution of society, because society will introduce things that are either good for us or bad for us, but are certainly new. And comedians are one of the ways we gain perspective on stuff. That said, the first job of a comedian is humor, is laughter. And if you can't infuse the same kind of laughter in the topics you're dealing with, then you're just not there yet. I don't care who you are. You have to deal with the limitations of your own talent. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people get way out over their fucking skis. Especially people who have a career being funny and are assumed to be funny, and then they think they can be funny about everything. Ask Michael Richards about that. Michael Richards, because he was hilarious on Fridays and on Seinfeld, thought that as a stand-up, he could go from 0 to Lenny Bruce in 2 seconds, and he couldn't. So anyways, the essence of it, and what I want to leave you guys with, is that like we look at the Greg Kellys of the world and the Tucker Carlsons of the world, and we do not allow them to own our anxiety or emotions or take our sense of our center away from us, or put people in a position of worry where you're less functional than you would be in the world. The same thing applies to comedy. And I think you can do it. What's the GOAT? GOAT is greatest of all time. That's it. Penny Loco, watch my last video. I reached past my talent. Great. So this is crucial, that you handle comedy and the type of stuff in comedy the way you handle in the recognition that we're in the world of comedy. If you handle comedy as if it's war, people will write off what your attack on it as a killjoy, which is exactly what happened when people walked out of Netflix. It had zero impact. And it's not because I didn't want it to have an impact, or that it couldn't have, or handled better it would have. Fucking didn't. It had none. As a matter of fact, it entrenched people's feelings about Chappelle and what he was saying, and proved that the opposition and the people who were attacking him about it seemed to be humorless and angry, and it basically presented themselves in the same way that Greg Kelly does every day. And always know that the greatest attack you can do on a comedian, doesn't work on me, but I've seen it work on others, is to go, yeah, I just thought it could have been funnier. Always works. Except on me. Because it can't be. You know what I'm saying? But also, like, the bit could have been funnier, and I just don't think it's there yet. Like, I get what you're trying to say. I just don't think you can say it. Yeah, it's the Midwestern goodbye. Yeah. So, and again, if you want to find an audience that will shit on comics for, overreaching or saying something that's somehow off limits or whatever, there's plenty of shows that will reinforce that belief and let you think that and all that kind of stuff. I'm just not one of them. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be the guy that tells you that's okay. And that there's a qualitative difference between joking and screaming. And if you scream back at jokes, no matter how correct you might be, or how true you might feel to your own ethics or whatever, it will never land because you're screaming at jokes. And I know what you wanted. Maybe it shouldn't be that way. Well, it is. It is. That's how it is. I hope that helps, and I hope it cheers you up, and I hope you don't worry so much about stuff like that. And therefore, when you're confronted with something, or somebody says something offensive that genuinely might be hurtful to someone in the audience, you've got your wits about you in a way that instead of just being shocked, you actually find where you're funny. Maybe you got a retort that overwhelms it, right? This is always about having more of you present in every moment and never letting anyone scare off any of you. No part of you is ever given away to somebody else's desire to make you feel anxious, afraid, worried, broken, deny your existence. Nobody can fucking deny your existence. No one. And anybody who tells you that someone can deny your existence by the words they say is worse for you than the person they are warning you about. All right, that's it. I got to go. You're awesome. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else in the process. Be good to each other. And you're awesome. Okay, bye.